Hello, everyone, and welcome back to NASA Season 4. We're back in Week 8. We got 3 matches on stream this week, so stick around beyond the second. But the first one is going to be Doggo.Dog versus a named team, and I hear that there's a little bit of backstory and some lore for this one, Oak.
Yeah, so a named team now has Hamster Quest on it, who used to be on Doggo.Dog, who as we know is the rebranded Quest Esports. So, as it turns out, there was a landing spot that Hamster Quest was snatched away from him by his old teammates, and now they are at war once more in NASA. Hamster Quest is looking for revenge, and Sloopin on the side of Doggo.Dog is one of those original teammates on Doggo.Dog that used to play with Hamster Quest, but now they're brawling it out.
Mm-hmm. So a bit of a civil war on that one then. So, I'm gonna see who's worthy of the landing spot, I suppose, today.
Yeah, it's not at all surprising to me looking at these pick bans that we see a Juno ban, Hotshot start. Mm-hmm. But It is surprising to me that with an unstoppable start, we are looking at Hamster Quest on Rasmus Goalie. Definitely a bit of a risk because a lot of Rasmus's tools can be very easily shut down with Unstoppable. And we see Stangod, the forward for Doggo.Dog, actually picking that up. So it'll be interesting to see if that does come to pass, if that ends up limiting a bit of Hamster Quest's abilities. Everybody else opting for Hotshot, so some nice CDR, as well as, of course, sending the core at unprecedented speeds.
Yeah, it'll be great to see the core go fast this time. Great tech there by Ignis, though, taking that barrier in very convincing fashion there with the hook strike. Dies to the black hole, not quite, and that's going to be a goal taken by Twee while Kazan is distracting them. Even living as well, really nice. I thought for sure that Kazan was going to be warped off the map by that black hole. Just a fraction too slow.
Yeah, definitely some smart play, keeping Ignis very, very low and out of the play for that first point. The longer you can keep Kazan away from that level 2, the less of a threat the enemy team is. Of course, they did just score, so it looks like they're putting up plenty of threat anyways. But a named team not in the driver's seat for this point, as their barriers are down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good passing play, though. Great tech there by General 2 as well with the dash into the strike to Kazan. Not quite enough to get the barrier yet. It's being held onto for dear life here. And we do have an open goal for ANT here. So we're going to see if Dog can get the offense. And of course, we've seen a lot of good plays out of Dog, but that is ANT taking a core from front of the goal. It's held, but the secondary from Atlas was able to stay up there. But that's a kill onto Atlas there, the first of the game. The first of the stream, even. And Ignis going to stay alive for now. The goal is staying alive, but no. It's going to be a rocket from General Twee that finds it into the corner with a really weird angle, but a really good one to get it in there. And that's going to be a 2-0 lead from a named team here. So taking the early lead is pretty important for them.
Yeah, and a named team, like, always a good indicator of pressure is how frequently forwards have to come back on defense, right? And we're seeing that even Stangod is coming back on defense right now, helping out in the midfield, because there's so much coming out here. There's KOs, there's strikes, there's passes, and yeah, it's just a little overwhelming. Big Jeep killed twice that set, and a convincing 3-0 set taken by a named team.
Yeah, killed twice on Atlas, no less, which you don't want to see. He, of course, has that ult to save himself, but it can be so difficult when to call it. Especially if you're in the goalie and you're full health, but you just get knockbacked into your own box. Hard to judge. But we're going to see stacks on stacks pick up by Luna. Really nice on that forward. It means that if you overextend with the secondary, it's a lot less punishing. We see Catalyst being picked up by the Rasmus goalie. Would have loved to actually see that on Estelle, but of course denying the size is pretty good too. So Rasmus always gets something that he wants there. Monu on Atlas is going to be pretty big. Literally, that secondary is going to be massive. Basically able to defend against anything as long as it's up, but of course passing up the reverb means it's not going to be up as much, so a bit of a quantity versus quality debate there. But some good offense here by Ant is going to take the first barrier, but the second goes down, 2 dogs, the third as well. Now they have an open goal. The Atlas ult used as well, and because it's so massive from that Monu, it's actually able to give a lot more you don't have to move yourselves out of position as much to be able to stay inside of that Atlas ult. It's really nice. Almost a kill onto Ignis, but Ignis is so good at staying alive here, using all of his abilities. But that's going to be a kill, but a barrier taken while StanGod is on that offense there. That's going to be a hook into the goal, and now it's a 2v2. The Estelle, not enough. Great defense there by Hamster Quest on that Rasmus. And we're going to see the self-pass with the primary. Goes up into the top corner, but just gets passed over to Jeep. Kazan is interrupted on the pass to Luna by Crystal Thorns. We're going to see Piercing Shot onto Ignis. The secondary from Atlas as well gets it to the other side. Now it's in Dog's hands.
Yeah, it is quite fascinating to see how much back and forth there is in this game. We do get StanGod finally securing a goal there with the Path Splitter. But both of these teams are just kind of trading KOs back and forth, which is not really what I expected. There really isn't any damage awakenings in this game other than Ignis, who has Prize Fighter, and that man is not brawling right now. Like, he's dead. He's at 0 Prize Fighter stacks. There's no buff from that. So considering the amount of KOs that we've had this game, especially with an Atlas in it, it's a little baffling to me the way that the pressure is turning here. But another turn of pressure as the barriers crack open, Ignis managing to slide it past the Atlas there, and Big Jeep now has nothing but air at his back.
Yeah, but air is sometimes enough. As long as he dodges the Luna ult there, don't want to die again there, that would be tragic. But Hamster Quest is a good pass up at the top. Luna's trying to set something up, but that Monu secondary is great, but the dash is better. Big Jeep almost able to clear it, but it's so difficult against that just hail of pressure from a Luna that has basically your full kit up. Managing to use the secondary really nicely was Atlas, but, you know, clear up to the top, and then she can just dash right over. Really nicely played by General Twee.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out Twee having the full kit up, right? A little difficult because a lot of Luna's cooldowns, you know, there's so many places to use them, and they're not the shortest cooldowns in the world, especially after her recent nerf to her primary. But General Twee is so good at hitting these cooldowns on the core specifically. This is like a very core control focused Luna, even though, you know, he is also dealing plenty of damage with it. This Luna is getting that hotshot cooldown reduction. That's allowing him to do a lot more in this map.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, Hotshot is, of course, really focused and prized by Juno for that speed. Great strike by Ignis into the goal, a good passing play from Twee to find that angle. But the Hotshot is prized for the speed on so many people. But you can never forget that 30% ability cooldown, even though it is, you know, max of 3 seconds, instant flip from StanGod is going to take that first barrier, though, really nicely. Yeah, the cooldown reduction just cannot be spoken too highly of there because it is just so good.
Yeah. Ignis just keeps getting pummeled here. No Atlas on the side of a named team to protect him, but that's not going to stop him from staying in the play and still grabbing barriers here. Even though this man is dying quite a bit, still making quite an impact in this match. And General Twee, in the meantime, is able to pretty much 1v3 here. Keeps up the pressure. StanGod and Sloopin now get a brief attempt at offense, but it's quickly cleared away. And yeah, we're back to a neutral zone. Both these teams still with 1 barrier.
Yeah, that's a good kill and the start of a power play, and Ignis is actually back to full HP pretty much here. A little bit of a stagger bug, but he is still not staggered, even though it is kind of saying it sometimes. The core flip is good from Atlas, buys a lot of time, but a good strike timing from Ignis is going to mean that they don't get any momentum from it. General Twee, though, looking very low, and if you can kill this Luna that's really doing the damage to your team, that's going to be a really good way to get out of a lot of these pressures. But Sloopin trying to get it through here, not able to. The Luna ult is good, but it doesn't get too much done. But the dash does. Brilliant there by General Twee. Ignis trying to switch it up with these hooks. The passes are great, and General Twee sends it in, taking a 2-set lead here. Dog, of course, not out of it just yet. It is a best-of-3 series, and they do still have the opportunity to come back, but it's going to be really difficult. But one thing that will help there is if that Atlas can get the twin drive, that'll help out so much.
Yeah, I think that a lot of what's happening right.
Yeah, the twin drive is denied there, though, by the Luna. Of course, a very intelligent decision there. Also really good on Luna as well. So we're going to see that peak performance ends up in the hands of that Big Fish Estelle. Really nice there as well. Perfect form falling to Atlas. A little bit of a weird one, but it does deny Kazan. I think that's the main thing there. He can get some use out of it, though. It does actually affect with his secondary, with his primary. So he can get some good use out of it, especially to reset the cooldown of that all-important healing ultimate. And Yeah, the perfect form. Not a bad pickup. Weird, but actually does have its use there. And of course, Rampage on Asher is amazing. Might of the Colossus on a powerhouse Pauldron's Rasmus is amazing. And the heavy impact on Kazan is amazing. Yeah, more passing play along the bottom here, though. It's going to be Rasmus dying there, though. Even with the Catalyst, not able to dodge out of that one. And a good strike war by the Estelle, but the Pearson shot is a little bit too early, allowing Kazan to be unstunned in time to defend. That's going to be an Asher going into the goal, killed by the Kazan, and Hamster Quest is back up. Now it's a power play in the other direction, 3v2. Can they get it done? An aim team, bit of a backwards angle there from Ignis, unfortunately. Stangard, really good defense against that Luna combo there with the primary. Big Jeep able to get up there in time, although it was going to hit the corner, but he's able to control it. That bounce and that clear. Core flip missed by Twee, but has some backup from Hamster Quest. The Crystal Thorns is nice. The pass to the Black Hole is nice as well. Sloopin holding on to his core flip, but it's not going to matter in the end. It's deflected, but that gets it to Stangard in the end of it, who's going to score. Bringing up 1 point. I think that was Doggo's second. No, I believe that was the first goal of this game. They were very close so many times. It's going to be the first of the set regardless. And that's a potential for them to come back. Again, we've seen a lot of the times that Doggo.Dog does have a lot of the fundamentals down to be able to do things.
Yeah, I am back now. I think I disconnected there for a brief second. But, yeah, Ignis holding it down that previous point for a chunk of time, but eventually managed to slide through. Stangard is now providing a significantly larger threat, even though they just have one Rampage stack, now up to 2 after that barrier. Is managing to make a big impact because Sloopin is able to feed the core a lot more significantly. I can't help but think that speed is providing a little bit of additional pressure there with peak performance. And Ignis is once again finding themselves KO'd off the side. Suddenly, Doggo is looking very, very strong in this point, even as their barriers do go down.
Yeah, but great find by Twee there, sacrificing the defense to go on the offense, get the barrier. Just nicely done there to see that angle. We're going to see the core being very fast here in overtime with everyone having hot shot. The important thing is, can Hamster Quest clear? He can, but it goes back over to him, and now there's a piercing shot. The hook is amazing, though, perfectly timed. And Ignis just a little bit late on that ultimate, not able to send it in there. Good defense by Big Jeep and Sloopin, and that's going to be Stangard sending it in 2-0 lead now. Doggo.Dog taking a lead in the point, or in the set, and really sort of flipping things around. We're starting to see what makes Doggo.Dog actually good a lot of the times. They have so many good fundamentals. So, you see that 0-7 score and you're like, oh, they must be bad. But in so many ways, they are so good. And we're starting to see those highlights here as they sort of get back into it.
Yeah, well, and I pointed out earlier in the match that Stangard is having to come on defense a lot of the times. And yes, he is there right now. But, he's getting to come onto offense a lot more now. We're seeing him get up in Hamster Quest's face, really start to cause some problems, especially with that Unstoppable on him. And that is, really a signifier of how much Doggo is turning this around. The Stangard is now actually being free to play the brawler role. And even as Twee gets a goal there, they had to burn a flip for that. Stangard and Sloopin, in fact, all 3 members of Doggo.Dog are very close to their core flips here. They have a huge chance to close out their first set in this game.
Yeah. And I will say, though, that just to note about that Luna, General Twee doing so well there, though. But that insta-flip goal was so clean, and now this as well, another kill onto the Kazan, but it doesn't matter. General Twee is able to hold it down. The level 10 there, I believe, first in the game to hit it by a long shot. The next highest is level 7. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you can commit resources to bullying the Kazan, and sometimes it does work. We saw them take a lead, but General Twee really just nailing it in these last 2 points, and just able to do so much on that Luna with the twin drive and the stacks on stacks. And now I think it might be that thing where, while Luna was stacking up those stacks, we saw Ant really have a little bit of struggle, but now that all of the speed is on the Luna again, it really takes a lot of offense. But Stangard does have a lot of offense to get that barrier. Now the goal is open, and this could be Dogs taking their first set of a potential reverse sweep in this game. But they're also only 1 barrier and 1 point away from actually losing this first game in best of 3.
Yeah, well, and all those core flips were burned, so now it is Hamster Quest, the only one holding that amount of energy on the board. But Stengod is rocking 5 Rampage stacks right now, and Ignis is once again KO'd. A power play opportunity here. Hamster Quest and Twee both with energy to burn here to defend, but a lot of those resources are going to be exhausted here. Hamster Quest burns the core flip, and now it's Twee that picks up the core flip, and Ignis is now back on the board. But that was a lot of defensive resources burned there as Slupin and Stengod got the chance to really apply the pressure.
Yeah, we see a lot of momentum shifting back and forth. And one of the things, this Rasmus does have Callus. Never mind, that's going to be Asher scoring a goal. Doggo.Dog taking their first set here. Really nicely done by Stengod to see that angle and to get it. And nice passing play from the Estelle and the Atlas as well to get it up there. And that's one of those things where, this is a very good traditional comp from Doggo.Dog. They have the Atlas to defend with the Iron Wall, the Estelle to manage clears and to get it to the Asher forward, who now has quick strikes and is going to be able to do so much more. But of course, Luna does get the glass cannon. I would have actually potentially loved to see a missile prop or an explosive entrance out of her, even Adrenaline Rush, because the glass cannon can be hit away really easily by the Asher, by the Estelle as well. So, but it can also be a lot of speed and power. So if Luna can hold on to those stacks on the glass cannon, it's going to be an amazing pickup. Primetime, though, falling to Estelle is really nice. The missile prop on the Atlas as well is really nice to get more forward pressure. You can see how far that primary is shooting up now. So he doesn't have to play as far up to get the clears. Good hook, though, from Hamster Quest is going to mean that it clears, but a great secondary and a kill from Stengod, and that is Doggo.Dog really winning those interactions there for solid 10 seconds straight. They were only winning, so really nice there. Big Jeep able to get a pass, but it's intercepted, and great Rose Warp from Slupin stops the double barrier.
Yeah, fantastic. And, I mean, you were talking about forward pressure, but here we see Hamster Quest activating the Orb Dancer. That could very easily provide a lot of forward pressure, and as the boys' angle comes out right there, Hamster Quest is grateful to find his barrier still up and running. But yeah, Hamster Quest is going to be able to run forward a lot more, and, I mean, those pendulum swings sneaking up from midfield are quite a scary thing to deal with. Core flips come out everywhere, but Twee and Hamster Quest are able to hold even in the midst of this power play as Ignis is once again off the board. He's back now, though.
Yeah, we can see a lot of resources used to try and kill the Luna there, but Big Jeep able to defend even with a lot of the resources the forwards burn. Great strike shot as well. When you have nothing left, strike shot is there for you and finds the angle. Great timing on the Atlas save as well. There saves the Asher from being killed. We see the momentum stall out a little bit again. It's in this top corner, but it gets cleared over to Hamster Quest. Pass is intercepted by Slupin, and this is a lot of pressure on this Rasmus goalie, but it's not enough to get the goal just yet. It's in Atlas's hand. He passes it forward to Stengod, who misses the primary self-pass. The second from Atlas, though, with the Monu, able to interrupt the dribble from General Twee, and Ignis sends it up, and Big Jeep doesn't get the angle. Bit of a MOBA moment there, sending it too far into the goal. Could have gotten the up clear, but was just a little bit imprecise with the mouse movement there. You hate to see it because it was otherwise a really good clear.
Is Big Jeep a MOBA player? That is news to me, if so, and also a fascinating bit of trivia. Definitely.
I'm not sure, but that is the classic MOBA moment of hitting it into your own goal while trying to move backwards. It's most likely just a mouse positioning thing, rather, just being slightly off, but. Great offense there from Anti is going to take the 2 barriers, though, to be a rocking start into this point.
Yeah, well, and I got to talk about, obviously, they're back on the board now, but Ignis did manage to land a kill with Kazan using what I like to call the Kazan dash punch. We've seen him trying to pull it off this game, but you can buffer Kazan's open primary after his open secondary and snag little cheeky kills off the edge like that. That's the first one he's been able to land this game, and he has plenty of damage awakenings to make it deadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but because of all the constant kills onto Ignis, he's never really able to stack too many. Now, of course, new set resets the stacks, so he's at 1 here. But great management by Dog on that as well. The Luna ult, not enough to secure it in there, but it does make Slupin very low. Of course, the buffed Atlas ult is going to mean that she stays alive, and that's going to be a kill onto the Rasmus of all things, losing all of his Orb Dancer stacks as well. Pass down to Stengod, goes up to Slupin. They're trying to get it through, and they do manage to. The core flip is burned. The Rose Warp sets it up for Luna, and General Twee gets it in. Really unfortunate there. Slupin was, I assume, trying to Rose Warp strike it back to keep tempo, but actually accidentally sets it up for the enemy. And now, Doggo.Dog, even though they had a wonderful performance last set, they are now 1 point away from losing this first game of the best 3.
Yeah, Twee just has so many tools to capitalize on little momentary opportunities like that, right? The dashes and the rockets have just been on point this whole game, and they're not stopping. Ignis manages to grab the barrier right there, and as they have an open goal at their back, this could be the end here. A named team looking to close out the game.
Yeah, and we see that hotshot coming into play there with the primary from Rasmus and the speed as well from the Might of the Colossus Pauldrons. A lot of power on this Rasmus, a lot of speed on those abilities. Strike shot is good. The Luna ult is not able to get the clear. This piercing shot is a little bit too late. The timing needs to be really perfect on these. StanGod finally not getting sad boys as he's able to get that top barrier finally. And we see now it's an open goal. Core flip from Atlas is required, but nailed. The primary as well with that extra range from the missile prop is going to mean that it's cleared over to StanGod with secondary as well. Sloopin trying to get it around this Luna, does manage to do it, but it's not able to be in StanGod's hand, who's just forced to play back a little bit too much. Is too far away from the goal. Great defense there from Big Jeep. Defending against that Luna secondary strike is so difficult. The really good defense there from Hamster Quest is able to keep it alive for so long here, but the demon angle found by Sloopin there off of a strike dribble. Just really nice there. Goes into the wall, goes into the goal, and Dog looking to potentially reverse sweep this set.
Yeah, big props to Big Jeep there. So many clutch saves that just gave his team just enough opportunities to close out that point. As well as, I mean, winning that point does also mean StanGod has some additional Rampage stacks here. But once again, they find themselves in a scary position here, Dog, having to defend for their lives, multiple strike wars and sword angle dribbles, keeping them in the game for now. Core flips coming online for Sloopin and StanGod might give them a little breath of fresh air. StanGod will burn theirs right there. Almost grabs the barrier, but it's struck away by Hamster Quest. Ignis staggered by the core flip from Sloopin. This game is so intense.
Yeah, we see it's coming potentially to a close here. We have the lineup on the... but it's not enough. The primary was just not perfectly aligned from the Asher. Strike shot's great, and General Twee sends it in after meeting it. Great adjustment by General Twee to meet that strike shot as it came out, and it basically just looked like a setup from Big Jeep. So really well played there by a named team, taking out that first game in this best of three. Of course, we will be back with more, but it was pretty good to watch. And Dog, of course, you can never quite count them out. They have those moments of greatness. They're so close to winning so many times. They just need to get that last little bit dialed in.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me that General Twee came home with the MVP there. I mean, we were pointing out how solid that Luna was throughout the entire match, but coming away with the most redirects in the lobby, as well as the most goals and just goal participation in general, just fantastic piloting of that Luna, and got a really disgusting build to fit it. So yeah, well played by General Twee and the rest of the named team. Dog though, the fact that they were able to make the comeback a little bit on that fourth set there, it was shocking to me. I was surprised that they were able to do that with how well Twee was pressuring them, that they were able to make that through. If they're able to come up with some surprise little bursts of greatness like that again, and then allow it to actually build momentum over the course of a match, Dog could very easily give a named team a run for their money and bring us to a game 3.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, we've seen Dog have those moments of greatness. And it's one of the things, like I said it earlier in the game for a second, but, you know, Dog does not feel like a 0-7 team. There's so many times when they're so close to winning, they're playing so well. The big problem that Dog has is that consistency of being able to have those good moments more spread out and more consistently, more frequently. Because we see it so many times. There were so many good power plays and so many good capitalizations of power plays, so many moments where they were just this close to taking that extra goal, that extra set that would have won them the game. But in the end, they're actually going to fall. And that was on their own map as well, on AtLab. So we're going to go to Taiko Temple next. And it's going to be bit of, it's going to be in a named team's field. Now, of course, even though the map is picked by a certain team, of course, these teams have practice on every map. They're not going to be caught completely flat-footed here. But it is definitely, you tend to pick a map when you have a level of comfort on that map, or maybe a plan specifically for that map. And so a named team picking Tycho Temple, they have some sort of shenanigan that they're going to be pulling out here.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Tycho was their pick, because I do also feel like Doggo.Dog really have the chance to excel on this map, especially with Stain-God having such a strong Asher forward like we just saw. Definitely, like, I think that kind of has to be the ban from a named team here. Otherwise, they really are feeding a lot of power in to Doggo.Dog. And I mean, we've seen Sloopin whip out the Juno on this map, and it's not like a conventional pick for Tycho Temple, but with all of the like crazy angles and the ways that Juno can redirect it, Sloopin is like a very scary player to have pilot a Juno on this map. So definitely, I think that there are plenty of tricks up the sleeve of Doggo.Dog as well, even though a named team are the ones that took us here.
Yeah, definitely can see Juno being pretty prevalent on this map. And without the hotshot start, you're not necessarily thinking of banning that Juno out. I'm seeing the cast last time thinking, Era ban, Octavia ban. Those are going to be like the main ones to ban out here. Or play. We'll see how it works out in this ban phase once we get into it. But the bulk up is also interesting because, of course, Tycho can be quite a kill-heavy map. So we might even see the run back with Luna on that bulk up even. Can do a lot of damage with just that one awakening, even without the awakening. So it's going to be interesting to see what the teams opt for going into this one. Yeah, definitely Juno, one of the top picks for just core control, if you can survive that the punishment that's going to be coming out of this bulk up.
Yeah, well, and to your point of looking at this start, you don't necessarily think of Juno. Bulk up is a fantastic pick on Juno. That little bit of extra power is almost like a mini hot shot or 1-2 punch, and can very easily turn either one of those awakenings into a bit of a mini Exodia for Juno. Definitely a fantastic awakening if that is the route that they decide to go. What do you think our goalies are going to be looking at here?
Ooh, I mean, I'm not quite as sure of the player pools as perhaps I should be, but definitely some of the big picks are the Asher goalie, the Mako, those sort of wall goalies. I believe we've seen Big Jeep play Kai a fair bit. I don't remember if it was on Tycho, but if you play a very sort of momentum-heavy forward comp, then you can see something like Kai come out as well and just try to play forward, just try to say, hey, yeah, defense is great and all, but the best defense is a good offense. So we might even see that being picked out. But I think Asher is one of the staples that we might see coming out, because that could even be a deny if Hamster Quest plays it onto Stain-God. And of course, that is, A&T being the blue team here, they get that first pick. So potentially they could even get that sort of, a ban or a pick that's also a ban where, we see something like, okay, we see the Juno ban coming out. You predicted that Sloopin was just way too good on the Juno to let them have it. So we're going to see that coming out here. Doggo.Dog might come out with, again, something like an Era ban or an Octavia ban, and then we might see a first pick of that Asher if it's not banned out by Dog.
Yeah, I actually went and looked at the goalie pools just to check, and I think that you're absolutely right. They kind of all both of them have the staple goalies for the map. They have Mako, they have Drek, which is weirdly enough a pretty popular goalie pick for Tycho. They both have Dubus, so yeah, plenty of stuff to work with here. It looks like your prediction though may have been correct. We do have a pick 1 Asher for a named team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's intended to be a goalie pick for Hamster Quest.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's great to have a flex pick because, of course, you're limited in the snake draft when you do it in the game proper. Because you're limited to only play what you pick. So if I'm first pick, I have to pick my character. I can't switch it around. But if you use this tool to be able to do it out of game, you get to do something like pick that Asher and then flex it between forward and goalie, depending on how the rest of the draft goes. And, we see that Era X picked up. It's a very popular combo there. Very good, but it also does scale. So I'm a little worried for Doggo.Dog in that. If Ant is able to pick up those early sets and really run with it, then Doggo.Dog might not have the chance to even come back in this. But of course, with the now to back up as well, Now, that could be a couple of things. That could be an Era goalie, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Now goalie. Of course, very good. Now, I'm a fan of eject button. Some people call it troll, but just getting the extra range for that ultimate is just really nice to be able to play up with it. So, and Big Jeep, we've seen has been able to play up a lot on some of those picks like Kai. But of course, with the Fani and the Drakkar, it might be a Drakkar coming out here in the goalie, and it might be something like a Drakkar. I believe we also have a bit of a map switch forgetting. It does happen every now and then, taking us to Tycho Temples, where it will be a bit of a hiccup there, but it does happen. You can't blame the players. They're trying to switch so many different things. Got to switch the Awakenings, got to do the got to do the character pick and ban. So sometimes it happens. But yeah, with the Fani and the Drakkar, we might see something like that Asher flexed forward with the Drakkar goalie you're talking about. And then the Fani in that midfield. We could even see potentially, though, like sort of double brawler forward with the Drakkar, Asher, and the Fani in the goalie. That's a little less popular.
I definitely, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we're about to see a Drakkar forward come out for Ignis. And it does look like that's what they're hovering here. General Twee bringing out the Fani, Asher goalie on Hamster Quest, and a bit of a Drakkar brawler on Ignis. Drakkar is quite a scary character these days, honestly. Ever since they buffed his power a little bit, his secondary rework gives him a lot more kill potential. I'll be honest, Ignis, one of the more well-known Drakkar players, I'd be terrified to face that lizard.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, whenever I see Ignis's name, I always have flashbacks to various Drakkar montages. It's definitely one of his picks that I would say at least I know him for, if not at the very least, the community knowing him for it. But we do see it is going to be that Now goalie with the Mom Boots pickups that she can run around a lot. Also a really nice one there. We see the Mom Boots picked up on Asher as well. Again, being able to run around and cover these barriers that are a little bit too big to really cover with just size can absolutely be one of the best plays. But we see that Ant is able to get the first barrier of the map, first level 2 on that Fani, which means a lot of momentum in their hands. But Big Jeep, not too soon behind, or not too far behind, is able to pick up level 2 as well. Use it to play forward, but doesn't get too much done there, unfortunately. The Era NATO sends it into the corner, sets it up for the X, but it's not enough. Great defense there. And we're going to see it's just stuck in this corner with the Now Era, with the X Maximus as well being used. Also, use every single ability and the Corp, and it's going to get that second barrier. Big Jeep goes for a really nice angle off the center barrier up to the X, who manages to get it in with some support from that Era. Just really nice strike management there, leaving it the rebound up to the midfielder there to enable him to have that strike up to send it into Hamster Quest goal.
Yeah, I have to really compliment the play there of Doggo.Dog, because especially since StanGod is running Vambrace X, his X doesn't have any mobility outside of what his teammates are granting him with their buffs, right? And so the fact that they were able to keep possession up and StanGod was pretty much able to stand right where he needed to and, you know, just pummel it through Hamster Quest, really well played from their whole team. But I have to give props to the other team now, too. A named team actually pushing Big Jeep out of the way as a shot from General Twee just gloriously floats into the bottom goal box. Mm-hmm. Both of these teams really coordinating some very, very nice offenses.
Yeah, bit of a Roomba goal is what I like to call those slow ones. Where just kind of ekes on by, and it was really nice. It couldn't have been done without the stun from Ignis onto Now. So just really good play there, really good team play. And that's one of the highlights to look at in these sort of higher level matches where, you know, even if it's not necessarily Nassau level, seeing teams that play well together just sort of elevates the game far above what you can find, even if you just find 3 random high-ranked players. Seeing them play with a team, practice with a team, and have that experience is really nice. The Era NATO is not able to secure this barrier, but just get a lot of momentum. That's going to be a kill, though. Ignis finding the enemy goalie and the enemy barrier, potentially setting up for a goal here with a shotgun dribble is really nice there. Got a little worried for a second when he struck it into the barrier, but he was just setting it up for that shotgun really beautifully.
Yeah, well, and important to point out here, I mean, in case you couldn't guess already from having a Fini midfielder, a named team is playing for kills and for damage here. Ignis actually grabbed pummelers, and so every time they are grabbing that power play and the KO, Ignis is getting that 30% speed buff as well, which is just a huge, huge buff to what is already a player advantage through the power play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on top of that, this is also an Era X comp. It's not a Mako Era X, it's now Era X, but it sort of falls into that same category of scaling. And one of the big things is that if you can keep this X behind and away from touching the core, so he always gets that last pick, and you can always deny him those awakenings that he wants. Same with the now as well being killed. Ideally, I would say for Ant, if you let Slupin be the highest level player on the team, that way you can deny away things like the Monu from now and the Catalyst from X, or just outright kill him again and again and again. The more they get behind, the harder it is for them to scale into late game, because if you're just that far ahead, it doesn't matter how much they scale.
Yeah, definitely these KOs weren't coming out in the first couple of points, but now Ignis is setting up these, not even like KOing off of stagger, just straight up finding knockback KOs with the help of bulk up and pummeler. So much knockback coming out from this Drakkar, and as the barriers fall down again, that's a scary situation for Doggo.Dog to be in.
Yeah, and we saw also Big Jeep overstaying a little bit there. It's the temptation with that, really with anyone that has an eject button like mechanic where you can teleport back. Being able to teleport forward is great, but there's still a little bit of leeway or a little bit of a cooldown before you can actually teleport back. And they're really able to take advantage of that beautifully and punish that to take a barrier. And that's a goal as well with a beautiful Fanil there. Just really well done by General Twee. Really a standout midfielder here. Being able to have so much pressure there in both matches, finding many angles, of course, to the forward, but also so many goals as well on her own on that Fanny. We see team player here being available. Stacks on Stacks, of course, one of the best midfield awakenings. Now is that the first pick for her team, but doesn't really have too much that's great. Rapid Fire is pretty good, though. Sort of a stock standard pick. It's not the Monu, but it's decent. But that is mean that team player is going to fall over to that Asher goalie Hamster Quest. We're going to see the Big Fish picked up on X for more size, Reptile Remedy on Slupin just to try and stay alive. Hotshot and Twin Drive not being picked up, interestingly enough. But we have some really good awakenings in this draft, though, so I'm going to see how they pan out for this set.
Yeah, well, speaking of really good awakenings, Ignis picking up Adrenaline Rush is just going to turn this snowball strategy that a named team is running even further. We already see that snowballing happening right now as Ignis is actually able to secure a kill. This Adrenaline Rush gives them this momentum that is just, already you've got Pummeler speed, you've got Adrenaline Rush speed. Ignis is perhaps the most terrifying thing possible after grabbing a kill and all of this speed. Again, another kill immediately. Ignis is unstoppable as long as he is getting kills, and the kills are not stopping yet.
Yeah, and that's another thing where, X took the cast to last instead of the bulk up, so he doesn't do as much damage. And Ignis having the bulk up means he does more damage, and he has more stagger, so the little damage that he's taken isn't as much of his bar. He doesn't get knocked back as much. So, you see moments like that where StanGod tries to go for the kill, but dashes a little bit too far past the Drakkars on the edge of the map, and Drakkar just turns around and 180s it on him with the Uno reverse card. Some just really good play by Ignis there, and a little unfortunate by StanGod to sort of overextend there a little bit with that. We see so much damage coming out of the core flip as well. The Fanny ult is good, but not enough great core flip out of StanGod. Of course, not out of it just yet. The Bull Rush again, trying to kill Twee, but this X is running around trying to kill, but he's down in experience. He, doesn't really have any damage awakenings to speak of. So he's really relying on this now to do damage. But it's just so difficult there.
Yeah, it definitely seems like StanGod's strategy is to play a little bit more of a core control-oriented X. Even as I say that, he goes and tries to punch General Twee, so maybe I take that back. But it'll instead be Hamster Quest who actually punches StanGod off the map. Another power play in the hands of a named team. And it really seems like the momentum is not stopping anytime soon. They've got to stop playing near the edges, Doggo.Dog that is. Otherwise, the story's just going to be the same.
Yeah, but that's a great anti-core defense there from Big Jeep. Able to keep the barrier alive for a little bit longer, but you really have to be able to be consistent on that. And there's the one thing that's really consistent here is just the offense from Ant. But I say that as Doggo.Dog managed to find a barrier. The goal is open. This is an opportunity for him to score. They get a really nice angle. The core was good, and it's into the goal there, right through Twee, who tries to use a card to cancel the flip, but it was just a little bit too late. Of course, going for the card there is really nice, because it's a lot more lenient on the timing. If the core goes towards you, then the card, of course, is in the way. So even if you're a little late or a little early, you can give away, but that's a little too late. But we see Ignis, though, taking another kill into another goal. So much is done off of that. General Twee as well with the strike is able to get the barrier, and that is going to be a core flip, not into the goal, though.
Yeah. There is, like, not just the kill pressure, but also Ignis and Twee are easily the fastest characters on the screen right now as Ignis continues to get KOs. But Twee has stacks on Finny, who has an insanely high base speed. These two are just running around, passing to one another. There's really no way, no opportunity for Big Jeep and Sloopin to clear. And even when there is, Hamster Quest is eagerly waiting on the other side, and that Asher has no shortage of cooldowns to deal with anything that might show up in Hamster Quest's face.
Yeah, and we even see with that Mom Boots on the Asher, she's running up a lot to try and help out the forwards here. Almost bites Hamster Quest in the back there, but is able to get back in time with those Momentum Boots again. But we find the double barrier, really nice setup by StanGod going for an angle where it would bounce that Era could get that second barrier. And of course, also Sloopin finding the angle on the bottom there, bringing Dog up to 2 points. And that's one of the things here, though, where, you know, the Era X comp scales, but if they can take an early set, it really does help their case out so much, makes the game go a lot longer, helps everyone to get to that level 10 and get the awakenings that they need. But the Finny ult is going to try and stall that out, getting a double barrier with one Finny ult there. Just great patience on General Twee to hold that for really as long as possible to get that.
Yeah, it's tough. You brought up the Era X scaling, right? But, you know, even though they are expecting to have a lot of difficulty closing out these sets, and they are tied up right now, they might be able to bring it back yet. It's also terrifying because when you're playing up against a kill comps taking early sets just means that they get to get more of the awakenings that they want and really just keep avalanching down until there's really no opportunity for you to ever come back. General Twee puts in another goal, and this set is some bad news for Doggo.Dog, and suddenly a named team with Stinger, Monumentalist on the Finny, like there's so much stuff here that can really benefit their game, and it's gonna take a lot for Doggo.Dog to bring it back from this brink.
Yeah, and we see the Manu, of course, going to the Finny to deny the now. Also really good on Finny's ultimate. We've seen a lot of really good black holes, so making it bigger and hit harder is just that much better. We see the reverb stacked up with the bulk up on now is really nice. Might of the Colossus going the way of Ignis again, denies that X, but that does mean that the peak performance falls to Era, denies Asher the opportunity to get the extra speed from that. Double barrier goes down to StanGod really nicely there, though, and, you know, we might see the beginning of this Era X scaling. We have, you know, Era being a lot faster. X has that CTL Chrono Boost combo, which, you know, I feel like is a little bit too much committing into, you know, the X ult being super long, but you need some sort of damage to that, and that's where I worry about StanGod's pickup there. But I mean, there's only so many options you have that far down in the draft, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, and I mean, you pointed out Ignis denying Might of the Colossus. I'm going to be honest, though, Era doesn't really care who has Might of the Colossus. She's just happy that it's on the board now, because that also means that Sloopin can now shrink Ignis, just like he did right there. And that means that Ignis's power is significantly nerfed. Of course, right after that shrinkage goes down, Ignis is back to being normal Ignis, and that Lizard has no difficulty snagging a KO right there. But if Sloopin can consistently shrink Ignis and make sure that he doesn't get as many opportunities to kill, it could shift the momentum in the favor of Doggo.Dog.
Yeah, and speaking of momentum there, it kind of stalled there in the power play. Doggo.Dog had a really nice defense there, and he was kind of floundering there in the 3v2, not really able to get it past the midfield. Even the instant flip from Hamster Quest was used. That's an important cooldown there, an important ability on the energy burst, not up for them, and that's going to hurt their defense. They do get it in the end, though, with Ignis Strikeborn Big Jeep, but, you know, it's not as clean as it could have been. Ignis, though, finding one barrier. Core flip is forced out. The counter flip fails, though, and General Twee's core flip is now wasted. But they get the second barrier. Big Jeep just playing a little too far up and not able to cover. And that's going to be an arrow on the bottom here from now, pushing it forward. X is trying to get something done here. He managed to get one barrier with the help of the team. The Aeronado's set up to do a lot of damage, but it doesn't get any kills, doesn't get any barriers. And, of course, the Manu Finny ultimate just has so much prevalence there, forcing out that core flip from Big Jeep in the end. Ignis has core flip as well in front of the goal. He's going to use it right now, and it's going to go in alongside the enemy. Just getting the core with the core and the skull into the goal with KO is just really nice there. And again, that's just Ignis, and the Adrenaline Rush resets those cooldowns now for the kickoff so we can use them again. The double barrier goes down. This is 1 point away, and it's not looking good for Dog.
Yeah, it's very terrifying. General Twee with that Fini card managing to snag the double barrier. And now with the curtain closing, Fini, piloted by General Twee, far and wide the MVP of both of those games, honestly, will snag the match and the series. Well played to a named team. A swift and sweeping victory.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those things, Dog, we saw so many good moments, but not enough consistency in those moments. Too many mistakes were made, people playing too far up, out of position, getting caught out on a lot of these kills versus that kill comp. And, we saw not completely flawless play from ANT, but in the end, they were better, more consistently across the board, able to take both games fairly convincingly. And, I'm excited to see what Dog has in the future, to see how they can improve and how they can change things. But right now, it's very, very handedly going to ANT for just a really nicely played game. And, this is ANT. They're kind of floundering in the water a little bit, because if they don't win all of their games, there's absolutely no way they can get into the playoffs. And, even if they do win all their games, it, I believe, comes down to a tiebreaker for who makes it. So it'll be a bit of a hiccup and, bit of a toss-up on who actually gets in, but, ANT has a chance, and they needed to win today to maintain that chance. So, don't give up on cheering for a named team if you've been cheering for them. So keep in store for that for next week and the weeks to come. But yeah, I would say overall a fun game to cast. And again, there were moments on both teams, both sides that were really nice. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that pretty much the only thing that can be said here is that a named team, if they continue to play as they did today, like General Twee was so dominant in the midfield there, and Hamster Quest had so many good defensive plays. Like, it kind of doesn't matter whether Ignis is there, whether they bring back in Switch in that forward role. I think that a named team does have a chance to win the rest of their matches for this season and get that small chance at playoffs, if they continue to execute like this. Like that was a named team kind of performing at their best in that series.
Yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to them, and definitely a lot to look forward to for the rest of the stream. Of course, we do have those 3 matches today, so we still have 2 more remaining, so stick around after this break.
And we are back with the North American Strikers Academy, Season 4, Week 8. Going into now with Plinkplonk versus Dragonfire. I'm Nubsta here with Cloakoak, replacing AJ Cannon for the moment because I think they had to go later. And we're going to get into this game pretty shortly. I think the map bans have finished pretty recently, and we're going to get right into the striker picks here. So what's your opinion on these two teams coming into this game, Cloakoak?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we haven't gotten to see the two of these teams face off, but they've shown up on stream quite a few times in the last few weeks. And we are actually seeing Xenogemini come back as the goalie for Dragonbite. The goalie that was, a key piece to them achieving this spot in NASA and is now returning to play and show the other teams who's boss. Plinkplonk has been tearing it up in general. And we typically highlight how Plinkplonk loves their unconventional picks, especially on Moffin Kui in the goalie slot. So certainly lots of quirkiness to look forward to this match. But yeah, we are also getting to see Twisty on the side of Plinkplonk coming in. So few new players, few new faces that we haven't gotten to see as much this season. Should be exciting to watch them show off.
Yeah, not a surprising pick ban phase here. Dragonbite opting to get rid of J-Dog's Juno. I mean, that's kind of almost a given with J-Dog nowadays. And but I will say that Moffin Kui was originally a Fini goalie one trick way back in the Fini days, and now that Fini has basically become a goalie staple, Mafan Kui is just eating really strong right now. But I will pass it off to you as the game has gone underway.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we're seeing a huge burst of offense from Striker Kai and Assertive, fueled, of course, by that Mag Souls pick on Striker Kai that we've seen them showing off. And yeah, the offense just doesn't stop. They're having triple defense on the side of Plink Plonk, and Dragon Bite has never looked stronger as Xenogemini holds on to both barriers with plenty of cooldowns to boot. Assertive blinks in there, unable to find the goal though, and now the offense is pivoted in favor of Plink Plonk. Twisty coming in, still level 1 on that Kazan, but hits level 2 when that barrier is grabbed, and now both of these teams are on an even field. J-Dog dribbling in the midfield. Striker Kai looking worse for wear as the core flip comes online for J-Dog. Assertive makes the breakaway, tries to shoot with the glitch pop, but the angle is just a little bit off, and Mafan Kui will hold strong. The KO onto Striker Kai as the core floats into the top of the goal box, and that'll be the first point going over to Plink Plonk.
First point and first KO in a map that tends to be heavily KO favored, right? But these teams aren't really going to be fishing for KOs too much. Estelle and Fini can put out a lot of damage, and Kazan can secure those KOs quite well, but currently they show no signs of trying to get this damage race underway, as this is the second time they lost both barriers, but Dragonbite can't seem to just make this goal happen, and the longer this round goes, the more chances Plink Plonk have to take this back, and you do not want Plink Plonk's team comp to scale past what you have with this double midfield setup that Dragonbite have.
Yeah, the double midfield definitely seems to be focusing on the core control side of things. They're not planning to play for damage, but Fini and this siphoning Juan Kazan, like you pointed out, have plenty of damage to boot, especially if they can scale a little bit. But for now, we're seeing pretty much a replay of the previous point. Both barriers go down for Plink Plonk, and then they hold, and now both barriers go down for Dragonbite, and J-Dog and Twisty keep the offense up. Assertive does manage to catch another breakaway there, but I mean, it's just like you said, the goals just aren't quite happening for Dragonbite yet. But there we go, right as I say that, Caster Curse, and Assertive is able to find it in the bottom of the goal box. The Cyber Swipe will secure it, and they'll tie up the set.
Assertive with the perfect setup into the Cyber Swipe, yeah, secures that goal, and I will say that Aimi and Kai kind of have some of the more predictable setups in scoring potential, at least as their easiest ways to score, right? You want to set up into the Cyber Swipe for IB, you want to set up into the Barrage for Kai. It looks like Assertive, previously known as Ashiverb, has decided to kind of play a pseudo-forward role with the Aimi, but not finding the typical tricks that Aimi can get means that the scoring setup is going to be way too easy to see for a goalie like Mafan Kui, and it's going to be too easy to make the saves for this Fini goalie that's been proving to be too strong, even in Nassel, as wow, just complete control from J-Dog and Twisty as they're pushing Assertive away, scores them an easy goal off the bottom, as Xenogemini was just a little too far forward there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to give props to Mafan Kui as well. That was some fantastic defense played there. Managed to keep the barriers up for that particular point. And, I mean, had forwards up in his face the entire time, but it didn't seem to be a problem. And now, Twisty and Jay are just keeping up the offense even further. And we're finally starting to see some of that damage come out as both Striker Kai and Assertive are looking quite low in the midfield.
Quite low indeed. The damage is starting to come through for the team that has Fini. I mean, Chakra, the damage character, has the damage coming their way. But I will say, Estelle with her free 10 power makes her a huge damage threat nowadays. And she kind of can just beat people up from basically at range without having to interact with the core at all, which makes her easily one of the strongest characters in the game for damage, on top of her typical core control anyway. But we'll see if Dragonbite can avoid the Estelle damage, avoid the Fini damage, and make this work. They get the barrier from Assertive Strike there, grabbing the core off of Mafan Kui's clear, and with two flips, they have the opportunity here to make a play and make a goal.
Yeah, one will be burned right there by Striker Kai, but it is defended away by Moffin. So much CDR in that Finny means that Moffin has abilities to spend at the blink of an eye. And Assertive is now actually staggered here. Twisty looks for the KO as Jay burns a core flip of their own. Now it's a power play in favor of Plink Plonk. Xeno Gemini will be forced to burn the core flip just to relieve pressure a little bit. Striker Kai alone in the midfield. Popping the Mag Souls, towing the midfield line to try to keep control here as Assertive comes back into the game. The core is now flying fast in overtime as everybody just has power to boot and can potentially send the core red at the drop of a hat. Moffin Kui in the back of the goal box, but doesn't have to face too much pressure because J-Dog is keeping the midfield under control. Twisty tries to find it with the top spin there, but Xeno Gemini already has a sentry drone there to defend. Core flip again from Moffin Kui, and it is just back and forth here, but finally it's Assertive that'll break the tie, or rather make the tie, by bringing it up to 2-2, and these teams are still even in this set.
Despite Dragon Bite's record right now, Xeno Gemini is one of the best goalies in the game. I would easily put Xeno Gemini probably top 6, top 7 goalies in this game right now. And so, despite J-Dog, Twisty, and Moffin Kui being such a strong team, Xeno Gemini is able just to hold it down, even on a character that doesn't necessarily have as many tools as, say, others on this map. But this is definitely one of her better maps on the Now. And one of the things I also wanted to talk about was the kind of shiftiness of Dragon Bite's team. Right, they're very fast. They have blinks. They have speed. They can be everywhere all at once against this team that doesn't quite have the speed, but has a lot of zone control in the Kazan, in the Estelle. So it's interesting to see this kind of matchup here between the two as Striker Kai gets eliminated, and now on this power play with no barriers to deal with, it's looking pretty doomed.
Yeah, Plonk looking quite strong, and just a simple strike there. We'll find it helped along by Moffin Kui's card from afar. And that'll bring us to our first draft, favored by Jay, who will grab set MVP.
J-Dog gets the MVP, gets the Monumentalist deny from the Now. Now still a bit of a creature, kind of requires that Monumentalist deny, which allows Xeno Gemini to take Catalyst here, but also allows Moffin Kui to get one of their favorite awakenings in the team player. And now it's just kind of everyone takes defensive awakenings and leaves Assertive with not really much to go off of here. Twin Drive Chrono Boost Aimi is scary, but not nearly as scary as maybe Explosive Entrance or Aerials or something like that. So with everyone kind of getting defensive awakenings, the game that already wasn't really kill focused has become even less kill focused.
Yeah, certainly. I do think you pointed out that Moffin Kui is quite a big fan of team player. I also think that that's particularly big news, not just because these points have been going pretty long. We've been hitting overtime, which is where that awakening really gets to shine. But it also gets to shine when you just have a Kazan on your team, because it's very, very easy for that man to red core off of a team player pass. And it's going to be easier than ever now, especially as the power play is just, again, affording these teams so much, or rather specifically Plink Plonk, so much room to work with. Twisty manages to break down the final barrier there, and Plink Plonk will keep up their advantage as Striker Kai is now looking low. But that Reptile Remedy, along with the Now ult, will keep him alive for now. Moffin Kui keeping both of the barriers up. One of them grabbed by Assertive right there, forcing out a lot of evades from Striker Kai and preventing the grabbing of that second barrier. For now, Moffin Kui will hold strong.
Holding strong, but the offense from Plink Plonk is just proving a bit too much for Xeno Gemini right now. The barriers keep falling very quickly in this second set, and they're struggling a lot to deal with this core speed from the team player and the 166 power Fini with 2 Prizefighter stacks. The only player in the game to go Prizefighter in this match of Twin Drive Prizefighter was Moffin Kui, and with that much power on this Fini with the Pauldrons, these red core team player strikes are going absolutely insane, and it's proving too much for the team that has all this speed in the Kai, in the Now. And now with double flip coming into this, Twisty actually missing it there, but it doesn't matter, just a simple strike anyway. Gets the field goal, gets the goal, and just up 2 quick points in this second set here.
Yeah, it really does seem like it's going to come down to stereotypical pocket play for Dragonbite if they want to have more successful offenses, because they're just really struggling to keep the core behind the net of Moth and Kui. He's able to clear it out so quickly. They do manage to find a barrier right there, but now Moth and Kui gets to drop the Finny ult on them and claim a barrier of his own. It seems like there's so many more abilities that are being used by Striker Kai and Assertive on offense to get just a few barriers. But that's a strike right there that manages to secure the second barrier. And now both of these teams have nothing but air to their backs.
Nothing but air, but nothing but prediction there from Assertive to find that pass off the flip from Moth and Kui to secure that barrier and make this an even point here. Striker Kai moving forward doesn't have Barrage, not able to make the play there. And this team that is very shifty just doesn't really have the scoring potential that a Kazan does, or even an Estelle. Aimee has a lot, but Kai doesn't really have much outside of Barrage and speed. So it's going to be very difficult for Dragonbite to get past Moth and Kui's Finny right now. Ooh, that was an insane try, though.
Yeah, the back and forth does seem to be heavily favoring Plinkplonk, especially in this overtime. Moth and Kui sending the core incredibly fast, and Twisty, with waiting arms on the other side of the field, has plenty to do with it with the full kit of Kazan up. Striker Kai looking worse for wear, but it's actually the glitch pop that'll find it right there, secure the goal. Assertive manages to find a little bit of an opportunity right there, and Moth and Kui just wasn't ready to respond to it.
Assertive's been looking for a lot of those glitch plot plays, trying to find the snipes on passes, trying to find the redirects to herself to make the plays happen where she can. But unfortunately, the only play that was happening is her getting punted into the net by everyone's damage all at once. And with Dragonbite out of position, the barriers go down, but Striker Kai able to find the Barrage for the last barrier there. But now it's looking quite doomed, unfortunately, for Dragonbite, as Xeno Gemini just a little too far forward, gets dribbled around, and no flips needed. No need to use energy burst when you can just strike it past the goalie. And we go up 2 sets for Plinkplonk.
Yeah, they'll be saving those core flips for next set. Which, I mean, speaking of core flips, no quick strikes to be found yet. But Moth and Kui has plenty of other legendary things to pick up here. Rapid Fire makes a lot of sense. Finny, one of the fastest cooldowns in the game in general. Now just even more CDR falling to Moth and Kui. Interesting pickup of the big fish there from Xeno Gemini, especially with Rampage being on the board and Twisty not really facing any kill pressure. That Rampage is going to stack up a lot over the course of this point. And then, of course, Jay managing to snag aerials. Fantastic pickup on any Estelle. Definitely seems like that draft was won by Plinkplonk, and their advantage is going to continue. But right as I say that, the barrier advantage falls to Dragonbite as they're able to quickly snag both of Moth and Kui's.
Yeah, Assertive, which is some really good strike wars there, and Twisty responds in kind with more strike wars of his own to make sure those barriers go down, and Assertive blinks in and snipes the strike from Moth and Kui, who either wasn't expecting it or didn't really have a way to answer it, and Assertive just gets a really quick point there, gets both barriers off a couple strikes, and gets the goal off of a blink strike. Well played from Assertive.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a little surprised, honestly, that the clears are happening so fast here. I would think that the Mag Souls on Assertive and Striker Kai would be doing a lot more for them. It does seem like they're able to keep it behind the barrier now. They're grabbing barriers. They're just not finding goals. Moffin is having such an effective defense. It's Xeno Gemini's core flip that will finally secure them a point. And now Dragonbite they're up 2 in this set. They have a chance to close it out here if they keep up the momentum that they've had.
Momentum indeed. Like I was talking about, the shiftiness of Dragonbite's team is actually proving to be what's getting them these points. Assertive with the blink strike there to win the first point, and then Xeno Gemini with the blink in from the now ultimate to get the core flip and the goal. And now they're up 2 barriers on this last point of this set for them, potentially set point. But the defense of Plinkplonk proved really strong in the first set, and it's proving to be just as strong in the second one with all three of them in the net here, trying to save this set from going not their way.
Yeah, they definitely are holding this pattern of just having a wall built up. All three players defending strong, but the glitch pop set up by Striker Kai's barrage will be what sends it in and grabs Dragonbite their first set. Well played from them.
Well played indeed. A very well placed glitch pop too makes it to where J-Dog has basically no options to make that clear happen, and nigh guarantees the goal, if not does guarantee the goal. But an insane amount of damage awakenings, as well as just some really, really good ones here, all on the board. Fini getting that speed that she wants, Kai getting the quick strikes to make sure that Striker Kai has the energy as well as the health. But Assertive opting for the perfect form to deny it from the Kazan, but instead Kazan gets Prime Time, and Prime Time easily one of the best scoring tools for Kazan there. Finally rounding it up with the extra special on Xeno Gemini's Now and Stinger on J-Dog's Estelle. So going for more of that damage, more of that KO pressure that has been plagued the first two sets of Dragonbite.
Yeah, I can see a world here where Xeno Gemini being able to jump forward and help on offense means that there are less opportunities for Twisty to grab barriers and stack up that rampage. And if they can score quickly, like Assertive just did right there, there's a chance that they'll be able to just win the set before any of the scaling awakenings that Plinkplonk have taken are really able to pop off.
And nice find there from Assertive, recognizing that Muffin Cooey's been striking on the earlier side in recent interactions, opting to just strike it right at him and blink, and is rewarded for the goal for it. And Assertive using this missile prop pick quite well. I will say Assertive is one of the better players with Aimee's glitch pop, especially at the long range. If you've ever watched them goalie, they're very good at like sniping attempts on other sides of the map. And so being able to use this missile prop here to their advantage to make these goals happen, to make this pressure stay alive, is proving to be quite powerful. But I say that Muffin Cooey finds the simple geometry off the top into the bottom corner around the entire player base, basically, for a goal there to tie up the set.
Yeah, Muffin Cooey has been finding so many weird long-range angles throughout this whole game. Assertive will actually use an early core flip right there to secure the barrier, but there's still one more barrier to go, and a whiffed core flip from Striker Kai means that Muffin Cooey is feeling a little better. But it'll be the third core flip, third time's the charm, and Xeno Gemini manages to open up the goal. Muffin Cooey will pop the big finish there to ensure that everything gets cleared away. J-Dog and Twisty close to core flips of their own, but they do still have one barrier to chug through here. The glitch pop will be unable to secure it. Jay will burn the core flip on defense there. Twisty having to come all the way back and help out Striker Kai. Not really scared about that damage. Reptile Remedy will be plenty to repair that. And holy crap, Muffin and Jay managed to just hold off an onslaught of strikes there. Make sure that the goal stays protected. Really, really impressive defense from them. And as the core flip comes out from Twisty, Plinkplonk surprisingly are looking strong here, even though they've been on defense almost the entirety of this point.
A crazy save there from Xeno Gemini. Unfortunately loses the barrier to the Blinkin from J-Dog, but the flips come back online with the Catalyst quick strikes both on the side of Dragonbite. They use, I think, 5 flips in that match to get both barriers using 3 flips, and then clear it away from the offense of Plinkplonk into the flip of Striker Kai for the goal. 5 flips for 1 goal. But it doesn't matter if you win the set and potentially the game if you're able to... It doesn't matter how many flips it takes if you win the game in the end.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that they're getting so many core flips, right? They have both of the energy awakenings on their side, as well as plenty of other awakenings to boot. Striker Kai, in the midst of a ping pong match, those quick strikes will get the better of you if you're not careful, and quick strikes was enough to get it through Muffin Cooey right there, as well as secure him a set MVP.
Yeah, Striker Kai able to just kind of take over the game with these quick strikes, basically unable to be killed now with all the stagger, opting for the bulk up now. So not only does Striker Kai have bulk up, but also a ton of power now. Probably could red core in overtime, potentially, depending on how much the bulk up's going to give here. But I will say, Twisty now getting Might of the Colossus with the Rampage, having 7 stacks last game, means not only are they going to have the size, but also the power to deal the damage. And Moffin Kui getting the Orb Dancer means this Fini is going to go Mach 20 like Fini has kind of been doing in Nassel and now is doing in NASA. Assertive opting for the Deadeye, Xenogemini opting for the Hot Shot, great cooldowns there, and J-Dog opting for the Heavy Impact for even more damage on this Estelle.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize, but Xenogemini actually opted for Momentum Boots this game, which is always a bit of a dangerous gamble on Demon Days, just because you can get hit so easily. It seems to be paying off. Xeno's defending just fine, and Assertive and Striker Kai, they seem to have found their footing in this game. They're at last swiftly grabbing barriers and following them up with clean goals.
Well, one of the best ways to score a goal is to either be really fast with a lot of strikes or have a ton of cooldowns. And right now, Assertive has a ton of cooldowns with Perfect Form and Twin Drive, and Striker Kai is really fast with a lot of strikes with Quick Strike and all the speed from the triple stagger build peak performance and the Twin Drive extra speed from Kai's secondary. And it's proving to be kind of overwhelming for Plinkplonk. They have a very good defense, but they just can't seem to make the clears happen when Striker Kai has so much speed and the serve has so many cooldowns. Xenogemini is just able to save everything for any play that happens. And a perfect strike from Striker Kai there. Moffin tries to go right through Striker Kai, and Striker Kai just slaps it away and says, "Nope, not in my house." And now they're up 2 points in this last set after going down the 2 sets originally.
Yeah, and the fact that Dragonbite managed to score both of those goals without losing barriers means that Twisty did not get any Rampage stacks off those first couple points. So as they are now on set point, Dragonbite are feeling better than they have this entire game, looking to close out the match here. Going in for more barriers, the Firewall Sentry will manage to grab the first one. Moffin Kui will do the back clear there, but unfortunately Jay's Rosewarp will send the core back in, allowing Striker Kai to secure the second barrier. Twisty manages to grab one on the other side of the field, but the goal is now open. Moffin Kui is desperately throwing out cooldowns here, attempting to hold Assertive and Striker Kai at bay. The Kai and the Aimi closing in. Xenogemini having no difficulty defending here. Right as I say that, Caster Curse and Xenogemini's barriers are open as well. But Assertive's Glitch Pop, finding a Demon Angle, Moffin Kui just slightly too far up, and that'll be a victory for Dragonbite.
A victory over a team that has a good chance to be in playoffs. If Plinkplonk win this series, they get guaranteed tiebreak into playoffs. But after losing the first game, their tiebreak chances look on the precipice right now. And that game was a really strong showing from Moffin and J-Dog, but it just didn't matter in the pressure that Assertive and Striker Kai were able to put once they got the cooldowns, once they got the stagger and the speed to avoid the damage, and just make sure that Moffin Kui and J-Dog's job of clearing was too difficult. And at a certain point, if you take enough strikes at the goal, you're going to shoot it in eventually. And that was kind of what ended up happening here. Striker Kai with 30 more redirects than basically everyone else in the game, utilizing the quick strikes. Assertive utilizing the perfect form to just make sure that she always had a cooldown available to make plays happen, make the pressure on Moffin Kui mount up so much that it just was infeasible to save enough times. And it was that kind of pepper pressure from this very shifty team on Dragonbite's side that allowed them to take this in the end with Striker Kai and a service pressure. But we are going to get into game 2 here as we get into, I believe the second map is Clarion Test Chamber, right?
Yep, that looks correct to me. And yeah, definitely a very, very different map from what we just witnessed. But I mean, that being said, we just saw a core control victory on Demon Days for Dragonbite. And with this map being a little less KO centered on Clarion Test Chamber, there's a possibility that we could see them do a run back of core control oriented comps. Do you think that Plinkplonk are going to continue their pressure of damage, or do you think they'll switch it up for this match?
I don't see Plinkplonk as like a super damage heavy team. They kind of are very coordinated in their damage, right? They don't always go for damage, but when they decide to KO somebody, that person's probably going to die eventually, if not almost immediately. I would say J-Dog and Moffin Kui's ability to coordinate their damage on somebody is very strong, especially with Moffin Kui's Fini and J-Dog having access to a plethora of core control, or not, sorry, damage characters, meaning that Plinkplonk could turn that damage dial even further if they just so decided. I think in the last match, Striker Kai just got all the stagger, so they couldn't really go after Striker Kai. And Assertive got just enough cooldowns that she became very shifty and very difficult to deal with, as well as the pressure was just starting to get too much. They couldn't even deal damage anymore, as they had to deal with the goals being taken so quickly. And so they weren't able to turn up that damage dial as they needed, because if you notice in the first two sets, Assertive was dying fairly often. Occasionally they got Striker Kai too, but once the sets went further and Striker Kai was able to survive and Assertive was able to dial up the pressure, they weren't able to make those KOs happen, and the game turned around. So we'll see if they decide to go for damage here in Clarion Core, or if they're going to just opt to go for more core control, which I would expect if they allow the J-Dog Juno to come through, although J-Dog is really good at dealing damage on Juno as well. But we will see, as I believe they're getting into striker picks pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I'll also be interested if we see a run back of this sort of double midfield almost that Assertive and Striker Kai were running with. Or if they'll decide to opt for a little more of a traditional brawler. I do know that Assertive has a Zentaro in the back pocket, so it's possible that we could see that. We do have our starting awakenings coming through now, as well as our first ban. No surprises here. It's a Juno ban targeting J-Dog. But we have Twin Drive and Prize Fighter
again
on our for our start. Yeah, getting another. Yeah, that is a run back, right? That is
it's literally a awakening run back.
Holy crap!
That's insane.
That's insane. Yeah.
somebody throws some stats major throws the odds on that. That's bonkers. Of getting the same two awakenings twice. No surprise in some of these bans though. Plinkplonk getting rid of Striker Kai's Kai. Nobody would have saw that coming. And Dragonbite getting rid of J-Dog's Juno. Also nobody would have saw that coming. But that means that leaves Dragonbite's ability to pick up Assertive's Aimi once again. However, that means Twisty and J-Dog get their pretty common picks of now Kazan. I know J-Dog loves to play that now whenever she's not able to play the Juno. Wow, brain work. And finally, we have Estelle and Atlas coming out for the side of Dragonbite. Estelle probably going to Striker Kai, and Xenogemini getting his famous Atlas once again on Clarion Core here. With Zentaro beating the last pick here, actually. Interesting. So maybe a Kazan goalie from Moffin Kui.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get to see the Kazan goalie come out here. And if this will be Twisty on their signature Zentaro. Definitely the character they're known for more than anything else. With, I believe, nearing 2,000 games, if not already at 2,000 games. Twisty has put in an insane amount of time onto the character. And then it looks like we'll be seeing another double midfield run back for the side of Dragonbite, just with Striker Kai opting for that Estelle now.
Yeah, arguably more scoring pressure in exchange for less, not really less, because Estelle's really good at zone control anyway, but not as much speed, so more cooldown reliant. Unless Striker Kai's able to get like stacks on stacks or glass cannon, various things like that, of course. But yeah, like you said, Twisty getting that comfort pick, J-Dog getting a very comfortable pick for them, and Moffin Kui, not sure how many people have been around since Moffin Kui's rise, but one of the things that made Moffin Kui rise as a player was Kazan goalie, a very demonic Kazan goalie back when Kazan goalie was kind of like becoming a very niche pick, like starting to become recognized as like a playable goalie as opposed to a meme, and showing up here again with yet another Kazan goalie is going to be a very interesting choice from Plinkponk, but I'm kind of excited to see it, and I'm not sure how Striker Kai and Assertive are going to have to deal with this Kazan here. We'll see as we get into it.
Yeah, I will say that I think that double midfield is pretty well suited for dealing with Kazan, because he just honestly struggles against range. Like, if the core is up in his face, there's a lot that you can do to intercept the core on his hooks, and he doesn't really have any abilities that hold the core in place, at least not when put up with another ability. You can always shoot it out of his open primary. So there's a possibility that they could really struggle here on the defense, at least Moffin. I think that Assertive and Striker Kai have a good shot to put up a fight against this Kazan, and they will be the first to take down both barriers, as well as find a swift goal here.
Just right off this little bumper on the corner, gets it around Muffin Kui's press the point strike, and unable to find it there. And that was off the back of Assertive's really well-placed glitch pop to recognize that Muffin Kui had the primary available, had the crooked leverage available, but unfortunately the topspin means the end of Assertive and the start of a power play here for Plinkplonk.
Yeah, and I mean, power play, definitely what they need here after that last point. Feels very nice. In fact, they get to burn Striker Kai's core flip right there, as well as keep both of these core flips up for themselves. Of note here,
Unfortunately, I think we have lost Cloak Oak, so I'll go ahead and take over for the time being. But Striker Kai not able to get it around J-Dog here. The Twisty opting to use the slice and dice, try and get the center. Went for the center 3 times. The greed on this person comes in, tries to get the center 3 times, doesn't get either. Loses the barrier here to Assertive's great play. And a couple strikes here, and Muffin Kui almost able to not make it work, but a flip right on the goal line, the 1-inch flip from Assertive, secures the set there. And what a crazy turnaround after getting KO'd right in the first few seconds of that round.
Yeah, I am back now. Hello. Yeah. Suddenly we are seeing Dragon Bite in their prime. It's really nice to watch them be able to cook here. Xeno Gemini at their back, giving them everything that they need to succeed here. And it's really fun to see them running this double midfield comp as well. They're making it work quite well, and it really just seems like J-Dog is being constantly pushed back out of abilities, and then by the time the pressure has built up, Muffin Kui just eventually doesn't have anything to respond with. Twisty isn't really even getting too much of an opportunity to work any offense. And the core flip from Striker Kai will grab another barrier there, followed by the piercing shot, which will secure the set. That is a 3-0 set for Dragon Bite right off the bat.
And you called it so far, at least, Cloak Oak. This Kazan is really struggling to deal with the just pure range that Assertive and Striker Kai are putting out. And Striker Kai once again being rewarded with quick strikes here in first pick in the draft. Bit of swag haver lore here. Guy always gets quick strikes and loves that awakening. Glass Cannon going over to Muffin Kui's Kazan, though, means it's going to be a little harder to get around. Assertive opting for the Siege Machine, and J-Dog opting for the Chrono Boost, so a lot of speed coming out for the side of Plinkplonk. Big Fish maybe denied, but maybe more so just getting the stagger against Twisty, and Twisty getting the 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch falling all the way to the end against Plinkplonk's team is kind of insane, actually.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was surprised to see the Siege Machine picked up by Assertive. It looks like oh, holy crap, the Rose Warp manages to snag the KO there onto Twisty. Yeah, I think that Assertive is making the bet that the Firewall Sentry is an ability that is difficult to be dealt with by the defensive composition of Plinkplonk. And I'm interested to see if that theory pays off. We'll see how much difficulty the Firewall Sentry gives them. Twisty manages to grab the barriers down, and Plinkplonk now have an opportunity to score here for the first time in quite a while.
Plinkplonk has an opportunity to score, but so does Dragon Bite. Looking, oh my god, Assertive with the Imi Blick, basically, the Imi Borg flick, hitting it off the wall, looking like they were going to go for the blink into Moffin Kui, the cyber swipe into Moffin Kui. Moffin backs up, but Assertive perfectly spaces it for the strike and for the goal, and just throws a wrench into Moffin Kui's defensive plans. This double midfield is proving very difficult for J-Dog and Moffin Kui to deal with now.
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying how well they're keeping this offense up. And I think that it's playing very well into Xenogemini as well, because the core isn't floating back to Xenogemini much, right? Normally, you'd be kind of hoping against a comp like this to get these little breakaway offenses. Like right there, Twisty got just one opportunity to make a play there against Xenogemini, and it worked. Worked right there. But Xenogemini has a lot of cooldowns up because Assertive and Striker Kai are keeping possession so effectively. And it's getting them goals as well. Like, there is no fault here with the play style they are executing.
Get the ref. The field goal's good. Assertive just knocks it right between two, even with J-Dog's core flip, and just gets the sneakiest goal I've seen in a long time, with just a simple strike. And just Assertive is just going absolutely off right now. Finding these plays, finding this glitch. Look at that glitch pop pass to themselves, sets up the turret in the corner. They have to burn everything to get this out. And now they have no tools to deal with any upcoming offense if they're able to make this offense work. Assertive is just going nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, they are scoring these in the right time frame as well. If Moffin Kui hits overtime, that Powerhouse Pauldrons and Glass Cannon is going to very easily send the core at just disgustingly fast speeds. But as long as Assertive and Striker Kai keep up these goals before overtime, there goes another one right there. There are no problems for Moffin Kui to provide them. Striker Kai rocking level 6, the highest in the lobby, as well as snagging set MVP there.
They denied Striker Kai the speed, so now they have to just deal with double blinks. And they have to respect Assertive going for glitch pops to try and catch hits around her. This is just insanity from the side of Dragonbite. The team is so difficult to deal with because of how much they can affect the core from their, despite not being in the quote-unquote correct position. But Catalyst drops all the way to Twisty here, and Orb Dancer on this Kazan means this Kazan is going to be absolutely smoking the field with these feet. I mean, Sonic style over here. Moffin Kui is about to be absolutely flying. Adrenaline Rush going over to the Now, and what is that called? Reptile Remedy going to Xenogemini's Atlas. But the thing I'm most interested in now is Twisty has Catalyst, and Catalyst is one of the strongest awakenings to just take over a game. We'll see if Twisty is able to make it work and make these extra core flips and extra defensive tools work in their favor. Twisty making a play forward here, trying to make this Catalyst work in their favor. Gets the flip, gets the secondary, the AI rush into the first barrier. Now, can they make this play into the second barrier? No, they cannot. Striker Kai wins the interaction against two, but not able to make the play there with Assertive as the core is being passed back and forth. A beautiful strike from the flip into the primary, gets the second barrier, and Assertive just wins the strike war. Just simply strike. Who needs cooldowns? Who needs blinks? Who needs speed? Just win the strike war. That's all you got to do. It's right there. The goal's big and open. Just score the ball with the strike.
Yeah, you were pointing out the Catalyst on Twisty. It does provide Twisty an excuse to come back on defense quite a bit more. And I think that having those melee abilities from Zentaro up in the face of Striker kind of Assertive could potentially put a stop to the bit of snowball comp that they have going on here. Twisty already finding additional plays here, and Xenogemini is out of cooldowns to respond to these angles that he's pulling out. Twisty is putting up offense, but so is Assertive and Striker Kai. They have plenty of abilities to speak of in the Firewall Sentry, grab a barrier. The eye rush from Twisty will open up the barriers first, though, and J-Dog and Twisty are looking for an opportunity to score here.
Okay, that was like the silliest goal I've ever seen. The demonest of angles bounces back to Twisty. Twisty dribbles it off, then hits it up for another demon angle off the top into the bumper, and nobody is fast enough to catch something that quick. That was just, honestly, that was just really silly.
Yeah, that bouncy castle can throw plenty of curveballs at any goalie and midfield, desperately trying to hold on to their barriers and goals. Yeah, J-Dog and Twisty are making plays here on offense. Both of them have core flips up and ready to go, but it's Striker Kai that'll pop his first. The Atlas ult will secure Striker Kai from being put off the map there by Twisty's core flip. And once again, Dragon Bite, with an onslaught of abilities, will secure a point, bringing them up to match and series point.
And that's off the back of a really, really good Atlas ult timing from Xeno Gemini, recognizing that the play had to be in that corner, dropping the ult as a just in case probably, and the flip from Twisty instead of KOing Striker Kai brings them back. And Striker Kai is able to make the play happen shortly after. Without the Atlas ult, that would have been a dead offense, but instead it's a goal. So finding this Atlas ult and playing it to their advantage on top of this extreme pressure that Striker Kai and Assertive are able to make, the team is just going absolutely wild right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very unfortunate that Twisty and Jay are kind of almost forced to try to stuff it through Xeno Gemini, right? Because Assertive and Striker Kai, both of them playing mobile midfielders, they can just come back on defense and interrupt all passing lanes that you could possibly have to your teammate. And so they're kind of forced to stack up against this Atlas, which is exactly what Atlas wants. Xeno Gemini holding so effectively here, but finally Twisty will manage to slide it through, and it's a core flip for Moff and Kui that'll tie up the set and give Plink Plonk their first chance at a breath of fresh air this whole game.
Yeah, Moff and Kui doing what I think Fudgy Waffles does a lot. Walk up to the midfield line and just flip and instantly strike to where the goalie's not, because they know they just don't have the cooldowns to deal with where this core is about to go. And with a 145 power press the point, they're going to make it happen. I say that, but it doesn't matter. Striker Kai and Assertive get both barriers off of a crazy play, and then they just win the strike war over and over and over. Moff and Kui just not in the right spot with the top spin means this is honestly a pretty quick 3-0 for a team that we did not expect to even win this series. Takes it 2-0 over Plink Plonk, and now Plink Plonk is, I don't know if they're knocked out of playoff runnings, but they lost their guaranteed tie breaks now with this series loss. And that's a very devastating hit for a team that had very good playoff chances to take this hit in this late stage part of the NASA series. And that was just look at these redirects. Moff and Kui and J-Dog had more redirects than most everyone in the game, but it didn't matter because the redirects that Assertive and Striker Kai were able to make meant that they were just more efficient in their plays and able to make these scores happen against this Kazan goalie. It turns out Kazan might be better in the forward position rather than the goalie position nowadays. But we'll see. And I think what you said at the very start with the double range being potentially Kazan's bane might have made the difference here for this win for Dragon Bite. And I think a lot of people just lost the lottery best $2 too, because I think the prediction was wildly skewed.
Yeah, that was Dragon Bite back in their prime, and more specifically, like I don't even think it's going out on a limb here to say that was Striker Kai in his prime. Like, definitely really want to highlight how on top of their game Striker Kai was, grabbing the most redirects on their team for both of those matches, the most redirects in the lobby for that first one, but also just being so efficient at setting up goals, and Assertive being right there to confirm them. It was some of the most dominant midfield performance that we've seen in NASA this season. And Striker Kai was just ruling everything in that the midfield had to offer those games.
Not to mention, anytime Assertive made a play with some cooldowns and it was cleared, Striker Kai would be there with the abilities of their own, and to make a play with the team of Plink Plonk, who had no more cooldowns to deal with after dealing with Assertive's pressure, means that they're able to score anyway. And so kind of passing off the cooldowns of both midfielders means that Dragon Bite were just able to overwhelm and overpressure J-Dog and Moff and Kui in the net and make the plays happen and make the scores happen on a team that you wouldn't necessarily expect to score super well, despite Ivy and Estelle being some of the best scorers in the game. But I think we're either getting into the next match or going to break. Looks like we're going to break.
It's a little bit of both. Heading to a quick break before we come back with PLX versus Chatting. Stay tuned and we'll see you then.
Welcome back to the North American Strikers Academy Season 4, Week 8. I'm here with Nubsta. That's the third caster change of the 3 series today. And we're here with a top-of-the-table matchup. It is Platinum Exclusive versus Chikara Chatting, and the winner will just be the first place team as of now, basically.
Not to be mistaken for the band, but me and Saya are rocking the plain white tees. Well, I guess mine's not really plain, but close enough. But we have some interesting rosters currently in this first game at the very least, as you mentioned when we were talking off air, Saya, as I believe, like you said, it's Carmine, Opabug, and Bloom in for Chikara Chatting, and Platinum Exclusive opting to run It's a Pineapple, Cardbox, and Lolamal XTDD. Cardbox is just everywhere right now, playing in Nasty, playing in Nassel, coming off a Nassel win yesterday. And now playing here for PLX in Nassau. So Cardbox is just kind of everywhere. Globetrotter over here.
Yeah, and I'm getting word from Achi that if Platinum Exclusive win here, they're guaranteed first seed in playoffs, even if they lose next week. So this is pretty huge for Platinum Exclusive. They want to secure that first seed, to be able to pick their opponent in the first round. And this is also a bit of a chatting rivalry match because Cardbox and Lola Mao, importantly, I guess Cardbox more actively, were part of Chikara Chatting in the past, right? If you remember Japanese Box on the Chikara Chatting roster, that was a very... that lasted quite a while.
A classic roster, to say the least. And one thing that we were informed of as well from Achi herself was that Pass has clinched playoffs because of Dragonbite's win over Plink Plonk. So congratulations to Pass securing a playoff spot, not even having to fight for it at this point. As it sounds like we're getting into the game, as I'm hearing the game audio come and get me on this night market game with PLX against Chikara Chatting.
Yeah, and a bit of an interesting draft here. Perfect Form, Adrenaline Rush looking incredibly violent on Night Market. You kind of alluded to the Night Market Demon Days being banned away, but we're here on Night Market, potentially double brawler, potentially high damage, and that composition that we're seeing from Chikara Chatting is indeed high damage. Aimi, Luna, Drakkar, people will be dying.
People will be dying, and it looks like they're banking on it, Saya. Opting for the Adrenaline Rush over the Perfect Form is a choice, and a choice that may come back to bite them or may secure them the win even faster. One of the most... Maloom hits right into a triangle, unfortunately. Loses both barriers pretty quickly, but we'll see how this pseudo-double midfield composition works from Chikara Chatting. I know Jakar Brawler's been seeing actually some play recently, so we'll see how Apabug's able to pilot it here in this game.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's pseudo-double midfield. It's also pseudo-double brawler. Both characters in that aspect, but Bloom unfortunately gets a little too caught up in the speed gate, and Lola Mao, no thinking required, just hitting it straight into the goal. 1-0 in the favor of Platinum Exclusive here for the moment. But yeah, of course, Luna, a character that doesn't do very well with Perfect Form, right? Not many multi-hits, can't really proc it too much. So that Adrenaline Rush is understandable, and Opabug and Carmine are looking to create big power plays here, especially if they could take out Cardbox, but the now healing is coming through. But while that's happening, the barriers have gone down, and they're about to score here.
About to score, and off the back of the Drakkar, who has the shotgun, not able to get it past though, and It's a Pineapple uses the flip with Maloom slightly out of position, means that the barrier goes down, and now it's open sides for both players. The invisible Drakkar, a little scary, but It's a Pineapple able to clear it, but it doesn't matter. Maloom grabs the cyber swipe, grabs the strike, and throws it right past the goalie.
Well played by Chikara Chatting here. They want to end on a win. This is quote-unquote Opabug's retirement game. And it would be nice to see Chikara Chatting get the victory here, move up to the first place as Oppa departs. But there are many players in Omega Strikers that have retired before, and we see most of them still active today. So I'm not sure how much faith I should put into that.
Not a lot of faith into that, but plenty of faith into Opabug. Still one of the stronger brawler players in the game. But we're seeing this Drakkar Brawler actually proved to be pretty powerful so far, and with Carmine's Luna able to back it up, putting the damage onto Cardbox, who now has flip and has to opt to either, well, Never mind, doesn't have to opt anymore, decides to use it anyway, and is now on the back foot up in the top side of the map.
A Fireball Sentry sending the core forward, but they can't secure the KO onto Cardbox, who stays alive in the corner somehow. Opabug, though, around Pineapple will find the barrier. Looking for a Strike War win, not quite yet, as Carmine tries to send the core forwards. Bloom now in a tough spot. The strike interaction won by Cardbox, but Carmine gets in there. Molten Bolt goes wide. The whammy goes wide as well. And somehow Pineapple is saving these at the moment, and now it is Platinum Exclusive getting in there. Lola Mao with the hook. It goes slightly off target, hits a player instead of the core, and Opabug trying to find a dribble, but Pineapple forcing it away. Cardbox forcing it through, and Bloom continuing to defend as Carmine tries to win a Strike War. Cardbox keeps it under control, and once again the defense is good, but Lola Mao with the core speed re-angles the core into the bottom of the net, and that was a brutal point.
A brutal point indeed. It actually looked like the Molten Bolt should have scored that point much earlier, but it seemed to have fizzled out just shortly before the contact was made, and thus the goal was not scored. And unfortunately that meant that the play had to go on longer, and eventually the speed was just too much for Malum to guess on that 50-50, not able to make it work there. But passing coming down now, and the offense is mounting for Chikara Chatting.
Yeah, barriers taken now. All the goals wide open, and a passing play attempted from Cardbox, intercepting the glitch pop. Lola Mao with a secondary to the bottom side, and the IME goalie a little bit too small to get that strike here, as Platinum Exclusive take the first set. Pretty important in a game like this, but the Mako goalie getting the MVP might not be what you want here, because there are so many powerful awakenings on the offense.
Oh man, so many powerful awakenings indeed. Look at these picks, Saya. Both orbs, primetime rapid fire, 1-2 punch, unstoppable stinger. Like everyone's just eating good in the neighborhood right now. Bloom actually opting for the primetime here over the Ponder. A little interesting, but not terribly surprising. And everyone just kind of waiting. 1-2 punch going all the way down to the car. Stinger going to the Luna. Rapid fire on Cardboxes now, and Reptile Remedy on Lola Mao XTDD means that he's going to be a lot harder to kill now.
Yeah, but my eyes are on that 1-2 punch on Opabug. That Drakkar ult shotgun. I mean, it's not the shotgun ult shotgun of beta, but it is still a powerful KO combo. And both barriers are taken here as Carmine, the backwards dash, does indeed get a save there. Opabug no meter available, but has plenty of damage to threaten Cardbox's position with, and Lola Mao is lagging a little bit as the opportunity is missed, and Opabug gets possession.
Gets possession, not able to make the shotgun work though. A dribble off from Cardbox means that Opabug isn't able to win the strike war there. And Opabug is actually looking worse for wear now, despite Lola Mao XCD being slightly lower health, not so much anymore. Almost getting KO'd there, I think, from the secondary. Couldn't tell with the invisible Drakkar. And the flips coming out left and right, but nobody able to make any plays happen. Nobody able to get around this It's a Pineapple defense, and it's proving to be quite powerful as Opabug is now taking out, and it's a power play for PLX.
Power play for PLX, a weird bounce, but it goes to Carmine anyway, and Pineapple finds a great clear around the Luna. The core almost gets past, but Pineapple does have the strike, getting it out of there for a moment, but you got to be careful in this wide open net as a Mako trying to get the ensnare drums and connecting onto the Luna, but it hits the Night Market center, perfectly rebounds into the goal, and Chikara Chatting will take those.
No, the Night Market angle strikes even at the higher tiers of play. Right off the center, right into the own goal, and Cardbox just eating the IME kickoff, the IME goalie kickoff, and losing most of their HP almost immediately.
Well, we'll see if they can make something happen here. Lola Mao, good elusive to not get KO'd by the Drakkar, and this Opabug Drakkar has notably just not gotten any KOs, it feels like. The power play winning condition is not coming through. The 1-2 punch is good, but it needs to find some kind of damage pressure here. And we're seeing the opposite, right? The Drakkar being taken out instead. The chip damage from the Mako, from the Now, from the Rasmus. But a KO is bound. The Adrenaline Rush is procced, and maybe things are going to be different here as Lola Mao is taken low. And that's the power of double Adrenaline Rush.
And double Adrenaline Rush indeed, as all these cooldowns coming up. Another KO coming down for Opabug. But a flip from Pineapple to save and get a barrier. It doesn't matter. Alpha finds the strike, finds the straight shot into the barrier around the defense of It's a Pineapple. Now it's another open goal. But Opabug is the one pressured now, despite the kill comp being on the side of Chikara Chatting. Almost took into the triangle. That would have been crazy. But Opabug looking for the dribble and confuses everyone with the Firewall Sentry hit that just knocks it past. Nobody expecting it, not even Opabug. And it was just, wow, that was just an insane point. But again, Chikara Chanting take those 2-0 in the set now.
Yeah, and looking to take it even further. They have the chance to make this damage pressure even more to get more Adrenaline Rush resets. And Bloom, a very decisive flip. No hesitation and a barrier taken on the other side. Opabug as well, and a KO found. That's Adrenaline Rush proc for Appa on the assist there. And that KO might just mean this entire set going over, but Cardbox with the patience keeping it away for the moment. And Bloom now trying to send it forward to Opabug. A dribble attempted there, but once again it is held by Platinum Exclusive. They're solid on the defense, solid on the passes, solid on the follow-ups. Cardbox getting in there, makes the barrier take happen, and now it's a huge chance for Platinum Exclusive to get back in this set, but Opabug has something to say about it with the lock and load, and it will be tied up at 1-1.
Bang Bang might not be here, but Bang, Opabug gets the goal off the shotgun, and just a pretty quick 3-0 there off of an unfortunate own goal, of a very strange mix-up off the Firewall Sentry, and then just the classic strike shotgun from the Drakkar Brawler with the 1-2 punch even, so those shotguns go even further. Not able to deny missile prop either means that Opabug gets, I mean, this Drakkar is eating good right now with the 1-2 punch missile prop. Opting for Catalyst instead, because Catalyst is one of the strongest awakens in the game still, and that means that Maloom has to deny the Monumentalist. Thankfully, a character that can still use it from Cardbox, but Cardbox now gets the extra special for the healing, and Lolamau XCD continues to scale with Stagger. This guy's looking like a raid boss right now.
Looking very difficult to kill, so the target will probably be Cardbox, who has that vulnerable stagger pool, the low stagger pool of now, and despite the healing, is looking pretty killable here. Almost gets knocked back off the map with the glitch pop as Bloom continues throwing those glitch pops out, and has so many of those. The cooldown coming back quite rapidly, but Lolamau and Cardbox, corner offense getting in there, and the barrier taken here. Opabug trying to push forward, and a weird bounce off the center will still save the barriers for Platinum Exclusive as Lolamau pushes forward here. A good flip used, and Pineapple wins the mind game. Afterwards, a missed dash from Carmine, and Lolamau has the core in his hands, but no, will go down to the bottom side. Appa in position, but staggered and knocked away from the play, and once again, Platinum Exclusive are holding on.
Holding on, but having trouble getting it around Carmine right now. Finally gets it through Carmine through the center, and now they have an offense coming, but Lolamau XCD doesn't really have anything but a primary. Uses it, but not able to find the score there, with Moon losing the flip, and Appa's able to get the barrier off the back of the Firewall Sentry, and here comes Carmine trying to get the flip, not able to make it work though. And back to Bloom, and kind of resetting to neutral here. Bloom forced to use the flip. Not able to make the score is Lolamau XCD, but that's fine. A flip gone means one less defensive tool. And here they come. Lolamau XCD with a beautiful mix-up. Gets the KO, but not the goal. But it doesn't matter with no goalie in place. It means that Lolamau can make this work, make these cooldowns come up with the perfect form, and make this play happen.
But no, the defense comes through from Chikara Chanting. Carmine somehow holds incredibly well, wins the mind games against Lolamau with just a Luna, no abilities, and now Opabug has to dribble to the top side and will convert with the core speed. What a performance by Carmine in the net, even while Bloom was KO'd, still keeping the point alive.
Keeping the point alive, and just crazy to see Lolamau's mix-ups ahead of time and make sure that they're able to make the clears anyway, and then just great play from Opabug to make that goal happen when it finally came his way. And now both barriers gone, and a shotgun into the secondary, into the Drummond base from It's a Pineapple means that it just goes right by. And now that's a quick second point here for Chikara Chanting in this second set, or third set, sorry.
Yeah, and Chikara Chanting's looking like they're scaling even further here. A flip used from Cardbox, but now incredibly low on meter and stagger. Heals up quite a bit though, and gets the barriers instantly. What a play. What a Strike War win, and now Lolamau is approaching as well. If they can get this goal before the KO comes through, it could be huge. But if the KO comes through, they could reset with the Adrenaline Rush, but Lolamau's in there with the dribble, with the Pendulum Swing, and PLX got one back.
Well, I can't believe that worked. That's like one of the first times I've seen the weak hit of the Pendulum Swing actually prove to be the downfall of the goalie. Dribbling it off the bottom to get the strong hit against the goalie and the weak hit against the core to make that score happen. And Carmine with another great save. Carmine proved to be quite the goalie right now for this team. Not to smear Maloom's name, but Carmine's making some crazy saves right now when Bloom's not there. And on the back of this defense is Chikara Chatting's offense able to go crazy and try and make these plays and give Opabug these opportunities to make these scores happen.
Pineapple now trying to send the core forwards, trying to find open space to clear it to, and a flip available from Lola Mao, but blocked away by Bloom as Cardbox runs in. It's not quite enough, and Appa's incredibly low now, but somehow stays alive. Buffers the Molten Bolt as well. And now Lola Mao is in a lot of danger. Healing is found, but Cardbox is the one taken low at the moment. Could be taken out by a single lock and load as Opabug is hunting, but it's not quite enough. Cardbox stays alive, and Pineapple now on the defense. A bit of a shaky defense it is, but Cardbox will interrupt the passing plays and make sure Appa doesn't get it, and Lola Mao has disconnected. And Lola Mao is back. Wow, that was a really fast recovery on the DC.
A fast recovery, but you know who hasn't recovered? Cardbox. Playing Smash Brothers right now and has currently lost the stock for the next 13 seconds. And with Opabug being staggered means that he could die and does die. Ooh, it's a Pineapple risking it against the turret, but able to make the clear. And now it's a power play for the side of PLX as Cardbox has returned, and the plays are coming through, but nobody's able to make these offense come up so far.
Oh, you gotta be careful though. If you're Pineapple, these night market bounces are looking a little bit scary. One could land in the hands of Opabug, and the core speed is there with the 1-2 punch. A flip available bottom side, right past Cardbox, out of the strike range, perfectly placed by Carmine, and that's a goal found. That's a set found for Chikara Chatting.
A set found for Chikara Chatting, and now some awakenings found for Luna, who gets the Deadeye, but with the strength of speed right now, I'm not sure if Carmine's going to go for this Deadeye, despite how powerful it is on the Luna. Yeah, opting to deny the peak performance, but it doesn't matter because Lola Mao still gets yet another Stagger Awakening and gets the size. So Deadeye kind of fallen by the wayside here as speed is being taken for the side of Chikara Chatting. You know, they got the power, they got the strength, might as well give them the speed too, and allow this Aimi to get the Deadeye for the extra damage. But speed is not only for the team of Chikara Chatting, as Chrono Boost is now on this now, and heavy impact on its Pineapple means more drum and bass and more speed for everyone. But the Adrenaline Rush is coming crazy. Saya.
Yeah, the Adrenaline Rush is coming in here, and they could reset into even more damage. But Pineapple holds on. The Mako goalie looking like a wall here, but Cardbox is not long for this world, staggered and could be taken out. And here's the Adrenaline Rush reset again for Opabug, but Appa's vulnerable too if they get a counter KO. No, it is Appa just taking the barriers and not being KO'd. Not enough damage, not taken out still is Opabug, who survives and finally goes down. But Carmine, through all of that distraction, finds the goal.
Finds the goal off the back of some great plays after getting rid of Cardbox. Means that Maloom's able to set up the turret and make the plays happen on the last barrier, and Mako would much rather have the single barrier as opposed to an open net. And so able to find the plays, make the plays happen against this Mako once the net's open, and using all the resources possible to make sure that Mako does not get to sit in her comfort zone of a single barrier on this map.
Right, and now Bloom, flip available. Pineapple could be a target here, and Opabug knows it. Just goes for the strike war win and does take the victory, takes the barrier, and now Carmine and Bloom have a lot of room to play with the barrier still up. Roll them out to the top side, but Opabug is there. Watch out, Pineapple, but Carmine will not quite be able to find the dash. Bloom now with a bounce shot. Pineapple barely, but an amazing rocket from Carmine catching the rebound. So much coverage from the abilities of Chikara Chatting there, and they're one goal away from taking the first game.
RIP. It appears a soldier has disconnected from the game and has returned.
Lola Mao is the fastest disconnects and reconnects of all time.
This guy's got like a reconnect switch hovering on like one of his keyboards or something. Wow, just double barrier immediately too for Opabug and Carmine. Means that the offense is just showing no signs of stopping. Opabug has no stagger, but it doesn't matter. He's not dying, and thus is able to make the offense work anyway.
Big opportunity for Cardbox and Lola Mao, though, to try and take some barriers here, but Carmine is investing a lot of cooldowns into the defense to make sure at least one barrier stays alive here, and that's so valuable. But a KO found now. Cardbox and Lola Mao, big chance with the striker advantage, but you gotta watch out because Carmine has that dash, has that global presence, and so does Bloom. The barrier finally taken, but not out of the woods just yet when Carmine has possession of the core, but Lola Mao has the dribbles with a firewall sentry on the defense, just shuts that down immediately. Will this be enough? No, it goes backwards, the wrong side of the Whiplash. And that primary does maintain possession for a moment, but it just goes right back into the hands of Bloom as Carmine sends it forward. Opabug tries to chase to the top side, and it gets away from them once again. But Bloom now to the bottom side. Cardbox trying to find the core and wins the strike war, but another rocket will take it out of the hands of Lola Mao. Pineapple sending it back. Lola Mao with the pendulum swing will finally be enough to find a point. But Jakar Chatting are still 1 goal away.
Still 1 goal away from this set, but that primary like caught the very edge pixel of that core there to make sure that that they at least stay alive in this game, as that looked pretty doomed for a good while. And here's Opabug using all the abilities to get both barriers super quick, and Cardbox with the flip just right past everyone. No chance to react to that. You had to basically guess that he was going to strike it instantly, and just a very quick 3-1 from Jakar Chatting. That game went 4 sets. But it felt like a 3-set game. That was wildly fast-paced.
Yeah, and Opabug on his Jakar was just so efficient at taking barriers near the end of the game, right? Like, especially at the very end, just instantly taking 2 barriers with the follow-up with a Molten Bolt. Very, very efficient gameplay coming out of the entirety of Jakar Chatting here. And of course, Carmine and Bloom were excellent as well. And yeah, I think PLX, of course, they're a very solid team sitting at number 1 right now, but they need to find something else to try and play a little bit better, because Jakar Chatting felt like they were in control.
Felt like they were in control. And one thing I will say is they had a team that's a lot less predictable. Rasmussen now really have a very straightforward game plan, and they don't really have a way to affect the global map aside from now's I forgot the name of her healing ult, but her ultimate ability. Lifeline, that's right. But with the Luna and the Aimee on the side of Jakar Chatting, it means that at any point in time, there could be a player where there wasn't a player. And so you have to respect that at all times, and I think PLX did a really good job of respecting it, but at a certain point, you're going to get overwhelmed with the sheer amount of pressure that kind of team has. And so without the standard scorer, you don't have as quick of scoring potential, but with all the people with the global presence and the Jakar in people's face, you have the scoring pressure you need in a very unconventional style.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes here. We're on Atlas Lab now. Gonna see the side selection as well, and we'll have to. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but Atlas Lab is a pretty similar map, all things considered, in terms of dynamic between these 2 teams. Of course, pretty different from Night Market, but the way the game is played for both teams, I think their approach to Atlas Lab will be pretty similar. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of the same picks repeated. And I'm kind of worried for Platinum Exclusive because Jakar Chatting seems very comfortable on this style of map.
Yeah, just very comfortable in general. And Atlas is one of those maps that you can run double midfield because of how wide open and spacious it can get once the middle's down, that you can just pop the middle over and over and have a large playing field to work with these characters with global presences. It's tough to deal with, even for a goalie like It's a Pineapple. And if It's a Pineapple opts to go for that more hold it down on the 1 barrier goalie, they have the option to just kind of pass around as much as possible, keep it away from Cardbox, keep it out of the hands of the midfield, and make sure that they can try and take at least the 1v1, if not the 2v1 against It's a Pineapple with these global reaches on the 2 characters. We'll see what they decide to opt for, as we probably expect the Juliet ban to come out again against Opabug. Known Juliet player. Small amount of games on that character.
Yeah, it's a bit predictable, but it's definitely a good thing to do against teams with Opabug on them. That guy's kind of good at that pick, and the Jakar, it had a bit of a slow start right in this game. It was not looking too good, but then Appa just started scaling, both in getting warmed up and also in terms of awakenings, and we really saw it activated later on into the game. So I'm interested to see what they'll pick here. We're gonna get a peek at the draft around like right now. And
Right meow.
ooh, this is a little interesting. It's a Ore Ponderer Monumentalist.
Ore Ponder Monumentalist? What in the world? Okay, so they kind of have to deny it. They kind of have to ban now.
Kinda.
Now.
Yeah, especially because Cardbox very, very comfortable on the pick. It's awkward, right? Because Jakar chatting on blue side, so this is pretty best case scenario for them. Platinum exclusive. They really don't want to ban the now, but they might have to. And of course, Ore Ponderer. Ore Ponderer's so good on those eject goalies, on characters like Aimi Luna, and yeah, this is, I think, a pretty good setup for Chikara chatting, I think.
Probably best case scenario, because if I'm not mistaken, Carmine has played a decent bit of now, so they could just opt to pick the now midfield here for Carmine. And that character with Monumentalist, despite her nerfs, is still a creature, still one of the game-breaking awakenings left in the game. Right? There's a few characters in the game where they get like one awakening and they just take over a game. Vice Heavy Impact, Luna Deadeye to an extent, Zentaro Perfect Form, and Monumentalist now is one of those where if she gets that awakening in any way, shape, or form, the game swings so heavily in her favor that it becomes nigh disastrous. So with chatting setup, like you said, it would be perfect for them if they're able to get this now ban and get Juliet for Applebug, or get the Juliet ban and get the now for Carmine. It's basically a win-win for them.
Yeah, chatting kind of high rolling this one. We'll see how the picks shake up as these teams are taking a while. Yeah, I'm not sure what the picks will be, especially for the side of PLX. It's a bit of an awkward situation, I think.
Muffled Jeopardy theme plays in the background as they're still deciding their bans here, possibly even bio breaks. I personally don't have access to the pick ban areas, so I can't see that. But I will say that I think no matter what, we're probably going to see a ranged eject goalie from Bloom. I know Bloom really loves to play that kind of style, that very aggressive, in-the-face style, third forward style in a way, and opts to not relegate, but and not even neglect really, but like opt for less defense in exchange for a just insurmountable offense, which kind of started to show up in that last game. And weirdly, I will say, Opabug did get Missile Prop on Drakkar, which is one of those awakenings where it makes the character even more of a character, right? Drakkar was kind of one of those characters that sat in the niche pick category for a while and is starting to see some comebacks. But when he gets Missile Prop, he's no longer a niche pick. He's a very strong character. But weirdly, in that last game, the Missile Prop I think came into play once as a pivotal awakening. Other than that, Opabug's positioning didn't really utilize the Missile Prop. It was just fine. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they choose to ban the Juliet. They will not let Opabug get the pick, and this is a tough spot, right? I kind of feel like they should have banned now, and yeah, but even then, yeah, I don't know.
It's the toughest spot.
Yeah, this is just too much of a tough spot for Platinum exclusive, but I'm scared of this now. Like, of course, not the insta game winning terror that it used to be. People are much better at playing around it now, and also the stagger nerfs have definitely had an effect, but it's still incredibly scary here, and not sure if Platinum exclusive are equipped to deal with it.
We'll see. It looks like PLX is opting to go for the Fini, but potentially goalie. I don't see that being. I do know Cardbox does play Fini midfield here and there, so it could be a midfield pick. I don't think so anymore, though. I think this is going to be a Cardbox Luna with It's a Pineapple on the Fini, and it looks like they're just going to try and counter the now by making sure she doesn't get to play the game.
Are you sure, though?
Right.
Because Pineapple was originally a Luna player, and
true.
This is Ponderer start. This is arguably Luna goalie's best awakening in the entire game. And I think there's a very good chance that this is Luna Goalie, Fini midfield, and that they will just try to KO.
I actually don't know what's going to happen for Chikara Chatting either, because I know Appa loves to go as Asher in place of Juliet in a way, but with the Drakar pick, I do know that Drakar does, Maloom plays Drakar goalie every now and then, so I really don't know how these picks are going to pan out, but they do opt to go for the Asher and the Drakar here with the Now. So deciding to move away from damage to an extent, and Lolamal getting the classic Rasmus means that they can brawl, they can score, they can do whatever they want to do on the character. So very strange lineups here coming out character-wise, in my opinion. And I'm really not sure what position these characters are even going to be in at the end of the day. We'll see whenever they decide to get this game going.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I'm very interested in how this game will pan out, but I think from the draft alone, of course, as much as you can glean from the draft, it's not the end-all be-all. And from what I saw in the first game, I would have to slightly favor Chikara Chatting here. I think they can get it done. Platinum Exclusive need a crazy KO win con to swing the tide in their favor.
PLX just has a much stronger way to keep control of the core too. So like if you can't get them off the field, they're just going to...
Oh, you mean Chatting? Sorry,
Chatting, my bad. Chatting is... If you can't get Chatting off the field, they are going to score. Like this team will score. And it looks like it is the Asher goalie with the Drakar forward.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into it now.
And it is indeed the Luna goalie. And Ore Ponderer is an incredible awakening on that character, giving so much uptime to the abilities here. So if Pineapple can provide that damage pressure, if Cardbox can as well, this could be very huge here. But of course that Luna goalie does suffer quite a bit on the defensive end, and Carmine with the Monumentalist now, there's not too much a Luna can do against the secondary.
Not too much indeed, as the defense is going crazy right now for Lolamal XTD, catching that pass across and winning multiple interactions to beat it here, and then getting a barrier in the end. What a play. One thing I will say, though, is Fini with Monumentalist is actually a scoring demon, but it doesn't matter because Strike Warring, Carmine and Affabug just winning all interactions over in that corner and getting the first point.
Well played by Chikara Chatting, looking to make this game the last one of this stream. Could definitely be possible here with how efficiently they're getting through. And again, like Cardbox and Pineapple, they just don't have the tools to deal with the Now. And Maloom finds a KO of his own as Appa sends it forward. The Strike Shotgun proving to be effective in this moment as the pass splitter. I mean, Asher is kind of equipped to deal with that Fini grand finale.
Very much so, but Fini does have a way to hit it around Asher if you strike away, catch it with the ult, and swing it around, but it's really difficult to do and not always consistent. Monumentalist makes it very consistent, and it is an option now. Wow, what a beautiful strike into the crater to make sure that it went white, but it doesn't matter. The speed is keeping it away. Carmine being kept away now into the center, off the center, but it doesn't matter. Lolamal takes the damage. They finally secure the KO. The KO comp coming through finally for the side of PLX.
Good flip by Maloom and walking up to the midfield, trying to keep the possession in the hands of Chikara Chatting here. And Affabug might have a chance, but it's sniped away by Cardbox. What a good primary to the top side now. It is calmly shot, and that is 1-1. And PLX, that's the win condition, right? Of course. This is Omega Strikers in July 2024. Every comp can do damage, but the PLX goal is to do it just a little bit faster.
Everyone does damage with enough cooldowns, that's for sure. But yeah, and the big finish comes out, blocks the strike away, and now that's both barriers gone for a goalie that does not like to have an open net, just like the Mako, but a bit more defensive options than the Mako to an extent. As Maloom's actually pushing up here, but gets punished, loses the strike, or Carmine hits it in the corner, and Maloom just not able to deal with the primary coming their way. And a quick 2 points here for PLX.
Now just gets in there, and that is the power of the Rasmus pick. A lot of agency, a lot of individual scoring pressure. And Opabug will have to try and match that, but Pineapple has been very good at interrupting with the dash on this bottom side where Opabug likes to keep the core, and this time Lola Mao doesn't get taken out by the Asher, the adaptation on the positioning to just dip back and not get caught by the dash into primary. And wow, it just Opabug getting absolutely murdered here. Every cooldown dumped into the car, and Moom just finds a calm strike war. But a flip is available. Carmine with the defense card box, trying to send it forward, and has the strikes, has the pass to the top side, but Pineapple sends it right into Bloom instead of the top corner, and suddenly the play swings around.
The play swings around, and they lose card box now, and with only 2 players on the field, and one of them being almost dead, basically, it's gonna be tough. But Lola Mao winning the strike wars, able to keep it out of their hands for long enough for card box to get back, and is now under pressure himself.
Weird bounce here as Opabug tries to catch the core, and Cardbox with the pressure, but Pineapple misses the core completely, and Cardbox needs to find some dribbles, needs to find a way from Opabug, and the flip pressure from Bloom as well as Lola Mao tries to find the pull. The dash flip is missed. Pineapple an amazing clear off of the side, but the KO is indeed found, and Lola Mao goes down. Cardbox now. Pineapple trying to find a rocket, trying to find a play, gets it past Bloom on the follow-up. A simple strike, not even using the flip. Such confidence, and PLX take the first set.
Yeah, just very confident play coming out from PLX there. Chikara chatting looking a little on the back foot here in across rolls almost, it feels like. But it is just the first set, and we are starting to get the awakenings with orbs being the first one. So it's a Pineapple now getting rewarded with double orbs, and a twin drive actually going over to the Fanine now. Carmine actually opting to wait and see what happens, with Hotshot going to Opabug means that this Drakkar scoring potential just got a lot higher. Some stagger for both Maloom and Carmine, and finally Rampage for Lola Mao XTDD. So this could be quite deadly for a team that doesn't have a ton of KO pressure against Erasmus, who loves to have that size. Could potentially be a very deadly combination for PLX. Or sorry, for Chikara Caddy.
Yeah, and a very close near miss on the bottom side. Opabug shotgun Pineapple very near the wall, and not that one wasn't quite close, but the earlier one, if that guy had pauldrons, he would be dead. A bit of an interesting thought there, as Pineapple manages to survive, manages to save both barriers. Opabug looking incredibly low, but still staying alive. No more cooldowns left, and both barriers go down. Lola Mao goes down, and Pineapple with a missed dash, but 2 barriers taken. Cardbox has the opportunity now to find a clutch opportunity. I said opportunity twice, as Pineapple finds the rocket on the other side, but the pass splitter will negate the big finish. A flip available for Cardbox, but still looking incredibly low, and the damage pressure is coming down onto Opabug to the top side. Lola Mao misses the strike, and Opabug finds the dribble, interrupted by the triple take. Cardbox, the flip available. Cardbox and Pineapple both with full meter here, but you gotta watch out on the now primary in a very limited angle for the flip, as Lola Mao dribbles up to the top side with Cardbox. The flip now used, but the pass splitter will force it away at the last possible moment, and Chikara chatting hold on despite every single projectile being thrown at them.
It turns out creations are pretty strong, Sai, as one creation almost scored and one creation denied a score almost perfectly. And Lola Mao XCD going for the classic mix-up there. Not able to make it work, though. Just barely missing the core with the primary. And now it's kind of anyone's game. Very little cooldowns for both sides, despite the ponders.
Oh.
And Opabug with the snipe!
What a good
catches
Molten
this final
Bolt
out.
with the hot shot speed as well.
Yeah, I mean, the hot shot speed with the orb ponder, if Opabug just takes the goalie orbs away from It's a Pineapple, it could be such a huge swing in Opabug's favor and scoring pressure that that could be the way to kind of make this game stay in Chikara, or not stay in Chikara Chatting's favor, but go in Chikara Chatting's favor, if they're able to keep these orbs away from It's a Pineapple. But here comes It's a Pineapple with that orb dancer.
Yeah, he's trying to use the rocket on defense and does so successfully, but Opabug is back with the shotgun, and this time it's sweet spotted with a hit stun on Pineapple, and Appa's just heading in there. And oh no! The core finds its way into the hands of Opabug. Oh, Lola Mao loses control of it for just a moment, and that's another point for Chikara chatting.
Opted for the dribble, Lola Mao, but Carmine's sensing it and able to just wait out the strike and win the strike war to a perfect pass to Opabug. Nobody really expecting it, nobody really in the right position to catch it once it happened. And with Pineapple passing it to Lola Mao, they get the offense going once again, but it's difficult to get around this Monumentalist now, and it's proving more and more difficult each time as they do interaction after interaction.
Yeah, and now Carmine dribbling up to the top side, and Appa trying to find a dribble as Lola Mao goes forward. Lola Mao trying to stay alive now as Apabug is taken low as well, but still staying relatively healthy. The black hole pops a little too early for Apabug to be rocketed to the other side, and Cardbox trying to interrupt the flip, but no. Lola Mao is consistently being taken low and out of the play. One hit will do it at this point, but still staying alive for the moment. Does pick up the orb, does unstagger, but the net is still open on the side of PLX, and Apabug is still alive, still looking for a shotgun, and a flip to the top side will close out this set and make it 1-1.
Well, we said PLX looked confident last set. That looked like a Chikar Chadian sweep. They just looked so confident. Carmine making just the most like Giga Chad walk up, I'm gonna win this strike shore strikes, like blue lock, nah, I'm a win kind of thing, and just wins the set in a very convincing fashion there. Not rewarded with too much here, opting to deny the Deadeye, so Pineapple decides to take Primetime, and Primetime or Ponder Luna is gonna be quite the force to be reckoned with. But I think a new win condition has been unlocked. Monumentalist Extra Special Fini is an absolute terror for most goalies. I think Asher, like you said, probably the best equipped to deal with it. But even so, with all the opportunities Cardbox is going to have with this, it's going to be very difficult to deal with on top of Lola Mal's scoring pressure already.
Yeah, and take a look at Apabug's build as well. The sheer amount of cooldown reduction is very, very important, and a bounce, not what they want, but oh no! They get off scot-free because of a missed dribble by Apabug, missing the barrier entirely, and both barriers still stand for Platinum exclusive. Now Lola Mao on the bottom side. Apabug with the shotgun though will take one, and a weird dribble off the bumper will mean that Appa maintains possession for a moment, but the big finish like you were talking about, extra special means more uptime on those, and Cardbox is going to have a good time disrupting the offense here, but Bloom barely saving it away from the barrier at the last possible moment with the barrier beam. And Lola Mao once again taken low. It's a common trend to Apabug as well. The Brawlers always looking low and finally KO'd.
Whoa, what a strike there from Loom to catch it out of the big finish that was going right for the barrier. And saves it now against this power play, which means that Apabug is back. They have to win one more interaction to keep this defense, and they do. And now it's Apabug with the hot shot. Pineapple not ready for it, and what a play from Apabug from the grave, basically.
Yeah, that was right as overtime ticked over too, right? Very hard to react to. Pineapple was trying to prep a rocket vertically to try and catch anything to the top side, but Appa found the speed necessary, and now the offense from PLX is looking a little bit questionable as Bloom is having a very, very comfortable time defending. Pineapple sacrifices one barrier to take one on the other side, and that's honestly a really good trade deal given the dire situation with the now primary.
Yeah, that was actually an insane find to get that angle perfectly into the other barrier and just get the clear at the cost of the barrier. What a crazy play. And here comes the big finish. If Cardbox gets Siege Machine, it could be just near curtains for Chikar Chadian, but Chadian putting up a great offense themselves. If Apabug gets Missile Prop, it could be curtains for PLX. I mean, this is almost anyone's game with the Awakenings right now.
Yeah, it all depends on the individual outplays, and Apabug's looking to make one of his own, but Lola Mao gets in there, Barrier Beam forces it out, and again, Asher so equipped to deal with that, and Pineapple goes around the world. No. Oh, and that sucks too, because if Pineapple ran into the wall there instead of going around it, he would have been back in time to save that one. That's a very rare error from a pretty experienced Luna player, and that's definitely going to haunt PLX, as now Chikar Chadian are 2-0 up.
2-0 up and looking poised to try and take some key Awakenings and critical Awakenings away from the right characters. But a quick barrier from Cardbox and the big finish in the corner means it's going to get both barriers now, and Lola Mao with the flip is looking primed to make the score happen.
Apabug, though, is rushing forward here, and Carmine is blocking on the top side. Lola Mao with a flip available now, but Bloom reads it, the barrier being perfect. Apabug dribbling forward, interrupted by the Death's Touch, but has another flip, goes around the barrier.
Sad Boys.
The flip into Sad Boy's angle might not be what Chikar Chadian wanted there, as Pineapple is now pushing forward, gets the core again. Lola Mao down to Cardbox, the barrier beam barely does not reach it, and wow, that is rough.
That is insane. Just barrier beam slightly in the wrong spot means it goes just ever so slightly backwards and gets the score. And PLX really just need it to stay in right now on this set. This set is very deterministic of who's going to take the win, who's going to get these awakenings, assuming they roll correctly for the right team. And flips coming out now from Cardbox means the defense is happening, but the offense completely stuffed by the pass splitter.
Yeah, and Bloom continuing to hold this barrier down, and Carmine sending it forward again, but Lola Mao and Cardbox continuing to maintain possession, but they just can't get onto the barrier. The 3-layer defense is a little too much here, and even the big finish on the barrier will not do anything, as Moom just flips to not risk any possibility of this barrier being taken. Carmine with the coverage as well. The rocket good, but right into the triple take it goes. And once again, it is Chikara chatting holding their barrier for so long. This might be it finally, but the triple take is counterproductive. Cardbox denies their own barrier take there, and now the barrier is taken on the other side by Chikara chatting.
Taken by Chikara chatting, but Pineapple is so fast that they can get all the way across and make that save happen. And now Cardbox, perfect pass from Lolamal XTDD to Cardbox, makes that happen. Big finish in play. Bloom only had the barrier beam, but it didn't matter. Cardbox tried to pop it early, not able to make the score happen. Lolamal, what a pass! What an insane find, and they just make it work. They broke everyone's ankles, possibly even their own, and nobody had a strike ready for that score. What a play.
Yeah, ridiculous core speed, but Platinum Exclusive had it fully in control there, continuing to maintain the possession and finally dribbling around the Asher at the very end and trying to maintain this barrier now as Lola Mao pushes forward, gets the first barrier, and they're trying to get to an early lead. But Appabug has something to say about it, but the big finish on the defense is just incredible. Make sure Drakkar cannot get that bottom barrier.
Yeah, despite Drakar's tools, it doesn't matter if he never has the opportunity to use either of those tools in that enormous big finish. Big finish looking quite big with that Monumentalist, and great save from Pineapple there. Good patience from the shotgun means that the defense is there, and Appabug actually, wow, gets the primary off of the wall there for the barrier, and now is looking poised to make this next point happen.
Appabug now trying to chase the core here, trying to figure out a way to take this point and the set and the lead even. And Appabug has possession once again, forcing it out of the big finish for a moment, but it's put right back in, and Lola Mao on the breakaway. No, Carmine to the top side into the hands of Cardbox, and Pineapple in the primary is good to keep it away again. The barrier beam will send it away from Lola Mao, as a good flip from Pineapple will prevent the worst case scenario. Another flip to the other side of the world, and now Lola Mao has possession, has the whiplash. It's not quite enough, but the death touch
that
is
was insane.
perfect. Lola Mao pulls it up to the perfect spot.
That was like insane. I don't know if it was coordinated, but it was like that intuitiveness of a play that you just can't communicate fast enough, where you hook it and just put it in the perfect spot while everyone's still inside the big finish for the score and for the set. Just masterful.
Yeah, and now we head into the Awakening draft, and Missile Prop will be denied from the Luna. Rapid Fire taken instead, and this is a lot of cooldowns on Pineapple. This is a lot of utility found. That's Rapid Fire, Prime Time, or Ponderer. But on the other side, I'm taking a look at that Unstoppable on Bloom, making it even more difficult to get past this Asher, and Unstoppable basically a hard counter to both Luna and Rasmus.
And partially to Fini in a way too. Big Finish kind of relies on the player not being able to strike if they're in it, but when you have Unstoppable, you don't care. You can just wait for the pop to happen and strike it anyway. So a very crazy pickup for Maloom. Could spell disaster here for PLX, but it doesn't matter if they just KO chatting. Who cares if Asher has Unstop?
Yeah, and Carmine now getting a Strike War win, rushing forward with all of the speed, and Appabug wins the Strike War to midfield to keep the core on the offense for Chikara chatting. But as the big finish whirls the core around, it is Lola Mao who finds it a little bit, but Bloom makes sure it does not go in the goal just yet. But Appabug, a good Strike War win on the top side, and Pineapple can't reach it in time.
Not able to reach it, no orb was up, and Cardbox doesn't quite have the stacks built up yet for that super Fini speed that we're so used to. nowadays. And so the core just goes right by, and it's a Pineapple actually DCing temporarily, losing that first barrier to it. Thankfully, it's just one barrier for them. And 3 flips now coming up for PLX. Let's see what they can do to take advantage of it.
We'll see what they can do here as Oldemau finds the flip right past the Pat Splitter, somehow gets it right through, but a Molten Bolt will take the barrier on the other side, and they're in danger as well. Platinum Exclusive having a lot of trouble here as Pineapple with a good rocket will interrupt it from Appabug to prevent the goal. But there's another chance here for Carmine and Appa as they get possession once again. Appa chasing the core forward, the big finish, a deterrent, but not quite enough to prevent the possession from being lost from Chikara Chatting. And Carmine just dribbling it forward. Bloom with the clear with the flip available. It gets around Bloom, but Carmine is there. And the core just goes all the way back. An awkward mid-game here as the flip is used, as overtime's about to tick over and a KO is found. But the passing play interrupted by the invisible Appabug. And the core sent forward once again by Bloom, aggressively pushing up here. Lola Mao will prevent it with the whiplash, but again, it's still saved by Bloom.
Still saved by Bloom, and I have to say, Pineapple had a crazy save earlier with a perfectly straight strike between both Carmine and Appabug. They just, neither of them saw that coming. It was bonkers insane. But speaking of bonkers insane, this core speed right now is just, I mean, if there is a mind blown emote for the Omega Strikers community, it would be just simply the core going too fast. What a play!
Yeah, Lola Mao drifts it up to the top, and Pineapple gets there at the perfect time to send it into the top of the net. Those are the type of overtime plays you need if you're playing a comp like Platinum Exclusive is against an Asher. You need to find those open space plays with the Luna follow-up, and that's exactly what they did there.
Who cares about Unstoppable when Lola Mal XTD is just finding some absolutely masterclass plays of just getting it away from the Asher into the hands of either an ability or somebody else on the team, and making these things happen despite the straight up counter that Asher is and Unstoppable is to Rasmus.
And that's Appabug taken out. Carmine trying to help in the midfield, but PLX are surging forward now. Pineapple doesn't even eject back and gets interrupted by the black hole, but is right there for a pass. The perfect hit's done by Pineapple at the perfect moment. Bloom can't get back there in time because of the rocket.
Not able to get there, apologies, people messaging me. But, yeah, not able to get there, and now PLX look like they're going to try and take this and make this more of a game. Chatting taking a very convincing first game, but PLX look like they're very poised to take this next one, but Chatting gets the KO and the double barrier here to try and stay alive.
Yeah, they definitely could. It's nowhere close to over yet. It is a very shaky lead, and Pineapple cannot go back, does not have the cooldowns. And we arrive at a 0.5 where Chikara Chatting are able to win this. They have the power necessary. They just need to find the midfield outplays. They need to make sure the core does not take the barriers too soon, does not get into the hands of Lola Mao too soon. And Appa is just working his way up now and does manage to force it right through the big finish.
Yeah, there's something kind of poetic and eloquent about a very slow core scoring a goal in this course, in the core speed that is currently happening in this game, as Appabug and Carmine looking like a masterclass performance on the offense right now, getting both barriers, but it doesn't matter. Lola Mal able to get it around Maloom twice, gets both barriers himself, and now just snipes it right in between. And a perfect play means that they tie the game. Just crazy good finds from PLX here.
Yeah, amazingly played by PLX. Lola Mao, so much synergy with both other members of the team. Just setting them up for success, and that means we are heading to a Game 3 here in this series.
Yeah, first game, Chikara Chatting looked nigh dominant for a bit. Even though it was a 3-1, it was a very quick game, and it looked like once Appabug got his footing on the Drakkar Brawler, it was near said and done. This game, much more fighting, much more core speed for all the teams, and it looked very difficult for the slow Asher and the not as slow but still defensively lacking Luna to deal with the sheer pressure of core speed there. And we see that replay on that one barrier take that you're talking about. That was the big finish actually coming into play, being able to swing it around the pass splitter using the big finish is just wild. Just a ton of really good big finish combinations this game allowed them to score, I think, 3 different goals and 2 different barriers, and allowed them to take over the game for the most part. So now 1-1 in the series. Let's see if a similar kind of performance can come out from PLX here to maintain their dominant spot in this league.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for both teams here. The third map, if I do recall, I think I lost the graphic for it, but where is
It was Tycho, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, it is Taiko Temple. And Jakar chatting, not big fans of Demon Deus, even though I think that this roster of these 3 players would do pretty well on Demon Deus. They elected to ban it away, and instead go to Taiko Temple here, and oh, that's big. Oppabug has departed. It will be Reset in instead of Oppabug. And Carmine will be
Interesting.
probably just swapping back to the brawler position.
Swapping back to Brawler, swapping back to that home plate, basically. But I will say Carmine's midfield looked very strong. For somebody not necessarily known as a midfield player, or maybe they are and I just don't know. But they did quite well in the midfield position. A very good, very good performance on Night Market, and arguably just as good on Atlas Lab, despite the loss. And so now getting to go back into that comfortable position, it can be kind of not necessarily a bad thing, but it can kind of be a muscle memory thing to switch positions like that so quickly, right? To go from the midfield position to then go to the brawler position, you might have the muscle memory of running back to cover midfield, or maybe don't have the abilities in your muscle memory quick enough with such a swap. This game, maybe not so much. People play it so much that you can kind of go between characters, and it's like riding a bike. You maybe 1 or 2 interactions, and you're back in the saddle. So we'll see how it goes. And with Reset in, I think aside from Drew not being in, this is basically the main roster, isn't it?
Yeah. No. No, wait.
No, not at all.
It's
Am I
Carmine.
completely wrong? I'm completely wrong.
It's Carmine, and Bloom is a new starting goalie anyway. So it kinda is, in a sense. Kinda, but Carmine can't play too many games here, or else he'll be ineligible for Nasty. I believe this is the last series Carmine can play in before being DQ'd from Nasty. This is the 4th one.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. With the if you play a certain number of games, you can't participate in the lower leagues or something like that.
Yeah, and Carmine's right on the edge of that at the moment. And it's gonna be interesting to see.
What with this switch though, we're gonna probably see a bit more of a standard composition come out from Chikara Chatting now that they basically have a more standard setup in players. But maybe they opt to go for the Chikara Brawler on Carmine. Who knows? I don't think they have first pick this time, so
No,
Lolma
they do. PLX have actually opted for Red Side, which is an interesting choice.
Oh, wow.
I wonder what they have up their sleeve.
So Carmine can deny away the Rasmus from Lolamount XDDD, though Rasmus doesn't see too much play on Tycho. I don't think he's necessarily bad. It's just that other brawlers, I think, see more success maybe nowadays on that map. Especially somebody like Kazan or Zentaro, especially when you want to deal damage on a map where it's nearly impossible to stay alive because of the drums. So we'll see how it pans out in the striker picks. But I would expect Rasmus to be picked by one of the teams. I just don't know which.
Yeah, and these teams are still not ready. Chikara Chatting, notorious stallers, not getting ready for their draft in time. But yeah, I definitely expect a bit of a more conventional team comp, especially because Carmine's character pool is a lot more flexible than Oppabug's. Like, Appa is more known for those strong 1 or 2 picks. Well, 1 pick in the Juliet and solid other picks. But Carmine is very flexible in that aspect, I think, and has performed incredibly well on the Kazan, notably, which will definitely be a threat.
A threat indeed. And I think they're going to need that kind of threatening potential with Kazan, especially if Lolamount XTDD is able to get Rasmus again. They've been playing quite well at the LAN in recent showings in various tournaments on the Rasmus, one of their comfort picks, if not the comfort pick for Lolamount XTDD. So if they're able to get Rasmus, but Carmine is able to get Kazan, it could be kind of battle of the brawlers almost. This stage feels very brawler favored in a way, despite being midfield heavy in many people's opinion. I would argue that it's a little bit more brawler heavy to on the brawler to make those scores happen, keep control in that corner, and make the plays happen. And Kazan is the character to do it. But we have a Stax, we have a Speed Star, holy fast.
Yeah, and it looks like Lola Mao or Cardbox maybe on that Drakkar here, as Pineapple has opted for the Dubu as the goalie pick. Carmine on the Rasmus here. And Rasmus, of course, a pick that's generally good. I think for a long time was considered kind of bad on Taiko Temple specifically, but definitely serviceable. And Bloom once again on the Asher goalie that did hold it down for quite a bit, and it's going to have a good time in the corners. And it's actually Lola Mao picking the Kazan this time.
So it's the old Uno reverse of what we were talking about. Of now Lola Mao on Kazan and Carmine on Rasmus. I think Lola Mao's been grinding the Kazan quite a while now and is very solid, if not good, on the pick. So again, it's going to come down to battle of the brawlers. Kai versus Drakkar midfield and hold it down goalies on both sides between the Dubu and the Asher. This could go the distance and honestly be quite a long game if things don't work out for the offensive plays against these defensive goalies.
Yeah, there's a very good chance of that occurring here. The goalies will have to hold it down for an extended period of time. And we'll have to see how it goes as oh, wait, Applepug's still in the lobby. Give me a sec.
Still in the lobby. Get him out of here. Where's Scorpion when you need him? Pull him out. You know, we'll just kidnap Applepug. He'll stay in the spectator spot. Force him to watch. So yeah, opting for the IME ban against. Who would that be? That would be. Oh, it would be Balloons. No, it would be Balloons.
Yeah, it would be
Pineapples.
Balloons. No, the PX is banning against.
Wow, my brain just like shut down. It was like no Applepug, no chatting.
That's kind of true though.
Kind of true in a way.
That's
but
the reason
still.
the team's called Drakkar chatting. Really.
I just didn't see Applepug, and so my brain was like, oh yeah, Drakkar chatting just doesn't exist anymore. Applepug's not there. But finally getting into the game here, getting the players picked up, and these kind of giants of the league right now are about to go at it in a 1-1 set. Last game, if PLX wins, they secure first seed, not just playoffs, but first seed. So they get to pick their opponent going into playoffs. So it's a very critical game for PLX to win, and a very critical game to deny PLX the victory of for chatting. So as we get into it, and 4 stacks, 2 dancers. What an interesting spread.
Yeah, and if Chatting win this, they hold first place in the league and have a very, very good shot at maintaining first seed to playoffs as well, right? They face a named team next week, and that's a team that I think Chatting is pretty well equipped to beat. But so far, the kickoff looking very good for Platinum Exclusive, and they're coming off to a confident start, but Carmine just returns the double barrier on the other side and stays alive.
Yeah, it looks like they're just opting to make sure Carmine doesn't get to play the game between the damage from Lola Mao and Cardbox. And every now and then Pineapple even throws a log. Look at that, just trying to log Carmine into the center there. But the damage will stack up, and Carmine will find it difficult to play as Cardbox trying to control the center here with Lola Mao. And there it is, the hook. Mildly save Asher, because I feel like the Path Splitter should have caught that, but it did not, and Lola Mao gets the first point here.
Well played by Lola Mao, and Lola Mao and the Kazan so far is looking much more comfortable than Carmine on the Rasmus, especially on this map, right? On Taiko Temple, Rasmus does not have too easy of a time making the plays happen, especially against a character like Dubu. Pineapple is just clearing it over and over again and has the tools to just get past the initial pendulum swings. But Reset running up into the corner with the barrage will make it happen, and it's up to Cardbox and Lolamouth to try and get it through. And on the other side, Drakkar, of course, much less mobile than the Kai, but in that moment gets down there just in time, but is taking so much damage from both Reset and Carmine, and Cardbox is staggered.
Rasmus Kai, not exactly like the biggest damage characters, but with enough cooldowns, anybody's the damage character. And there goes. Carmine gets the KO onto Cardbox, resets the stacks, which is huge in this game with everybody having stacks. And there goes the Rasmus, getting that hook into the perfect shot that Dubu just cannot cover. And now, Barrage almost gets the score, but Pineapple able to strike it away. But it doesn't matter. Reset gets the Strike War win. Is this the Reset difference, Saya?
I mean, Reset played that well, but I feel like Lolamao made a huge blunder there. I don't think Kazan should ever be losing control of the core in that situation. And Pineapple did not expect that to happen at all, right? Wasn't positioned for it. Thought that Lolamao had it secured, and now Lolamao is being punished for trying to stay on the offense for too long. Almost staggered, and with no meter available.
No meter available, and lots of cooldowns coming up to probably come his way. And the core not on the right side of the field means that lives could be threatened, but right now the life that's threatened is Reset. Reset looking not long for this world, and there it is, the secondary extra power gain actually coming into play there to secure that and get enough damage to make sure that KO happens. And Cardbox just pumping in the damage on everyone. Lolamao with the crooked leverage scores the barrier. And now, open goal against an Asher who hates having open goals against two barriers and a Dubu with flip. This is looking well in PLX's favor.
Yeah, but Carmine might have something to say about it. Has plenty of speed to work with and is pushing forward. Gets the rebound. Makes sure to maintain possession as the path splitter helps out in that aspect as well. Down the Cardbox it goes. A great lock and load to send it forward. But again, it goes into hands of Carmine. The clear red by Carmine. Pineapple now in a tough spot. Good roll to make sure the Giga Blast can't do anything. And Cardbox sending it up to Lolamao to the bottom side. Bloom finds the save, and Lolamao needs to find some follow-up with Cardbox here. And Cardbox, the most insecure flip of all time. I'll say it. Yo. I've seen insecure flips. I've streamed basically every tournament in this game's history, but that might be number one.
I mean, Chikara chatting is in the game, so it is time to chat it up, but I'm not sure how much chatting that was, because the 1-inch flip secures the goal. How necessary is it? Who knows? But we'll see if Cardbox gets punished for using the flip that early, or is not punished for deciding to use flip there. But a pass right to Carmine means double barrier here, and Cardbox has to win some critical things, and another field goal. Carmine Lockrooter straight shot right through Cardbox, and Pineapple secures them the point, and maybe if Cardbox had a flip there, could have saved it. I don't know, Saya.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, but right now the energy economy a little bit in the favor of Chikara chatting, and Bloom with the defensive flip available. Carmine and Reset working on offensive ones potentially, and Lolamao is going to need to do a lot of work here, as that is the barrier being burned. That's the secondary burned as well. Big opportunity for PLX, but the flip will bail out. And what an angle by Pineapple, as the barrier does. Lolamao's disconnected again. Oh, Lolamao's back? Oh, Lolamao's back. That was fast.
Oh. Lolamao using flip, maybe even a buffered input, loses their life anyway to the primary from Carmine, and now it's kind of up to Cardbox to try and take possession, but unfortunately being passed around entirely. The double goalie coming in, Carmine gets the strike, catches everyone off guard, gets the barrier, and now it's just insurmountable pressure here from Reset and Carmine as they take both barriers off the back of a DC and then a kill from Lolamao.
Yeah, Cardbox is trying to send it in there, but once again, the barrier beam scoops the core, gets it out of there, and now Carmine has a flip available, but Pineapple once again threads the needle and keeps the point alive for a little while longer, but a good flip by Carmine. An amazing log by Pineapple will completely stuff it away, perfectly ranged, and Reset has the opportunity up to Carmine, and Chikara chatting will make the goal happen. But wow, great defense from PLX, but Chatting just maintained their offense for long enough.
The speed pressure between the Rasmus and the Kaya is just proving too much. They can just kind of strike the corner and cover any clear. So the team PLX is just forced to use cooldowns to get it out, and then once all the cooldowns are used, they catch it with the speed, use their cooldowns, and score. It's just proving to be too difficult to get around right now. And now with Hotshot and Reptile Remedy being picked up, those stacks are not going away anytime soon, and that Rasmus is having cooldowns left and right. So we'll see if this prize fighter can prove the difference for Cardbox as well as the Adrenaline Rush, or is it going to be too much? Is this speed difference going to be too much for PLX?
Yeah, notably Cardbox with Awakenings that do nothing if you are KO'd. Needs to be very careful here, and does dodge the Death Touch coming out of Carmine. Pineapple and Lolamau in the corner get it out of there, but just barely, and now Cardbox is once again under a lot of damage pressure, and now the possession just consistently being kept by Reset and Carmine. They're playing together quite well on the offense.
Yeah, it's that speed difference. I mean, who needs size when you're just everywhere? There's a lot of times that if Carmine just holds W and A when striking at It's a Pineapple, he can cover the out clear if Pineapple decides to go for it. And with Reset having the speed in the bottom, there's just nowhere to go. You're forced to use everything to get it out, and then if you don't get it out, you have nothing, and you have no more defense, and they just score.
Oh, bit of a scary situation for Platinum Exclusive. They get it out of there just in time, but they just can't win the midfield strike wars. Reset is making all of them happen. And Pineapple to the top side. Lolamau may be an opportunity here, but once again, Bloom is just too patient with the defense. Both barriers still stand. It's such insurmountable pressure coming out from Chikara Chatting here, and Pineapple's got to be very careful with the clears because Carmine is looking for something. A well-timed flip will get it out of there, but it might be just lengthening this point, and the outcome might just be the same as, whoa! Lolamau lags all the way to the bottom of the screen, finds a flip for the barrier, and gets taken out in the end, but that's a big opportunity for Cardbox, but it goes a little bit off target here, and now the game will stall a little bit. But Cardbox does have the flip available, could stall it out even more in the midfield as the respawn should come in any second now. An amazing dribble, but no flip from Cardbox on the defense will mean the goal goes in anyway.
Goal goes in. This is just looking like Reset the video game right now. Reset is just winning the midfield so strongly that Maloom's just able to put damage onto Lolamau XTDD, so when the core comes his way, it's impossible to play when you're dying. And so the team that has the damage is the one getting out damage pressured simply because they just don't have the core.
Yeah, and of course Carmine finding a play like that the moment Reset gets the core to him. Incredibly well played from the forward duo of Chikara Chatting here. It's looking like a Chatting sweep, and Reset is just playing so well. Like, Carmine is as well, but like Carmine just playing like well. Reset is absolutely just solo dominating this midfield. It is not even close.
It's not even close, and Carmine just looks like Carmine. If you give Carmine Rasmus and like a few opportunities, or even sometimes one, Carmine will make it happen. But Reset right now is just giving so many opportunities that it will happen. It's not an if, it's a will. And it's a matter of when it will happen. And even if Carmine's not able to, Reset's still able to find the anti-clears and make these scores happen. And now with Carmine back, Reset, look at that, off the speed drum, catches It's a Pineapple off guard, and even with flip, scores it, and just a clean 3-0 against PLX. This is looking like a Chatting sweep.
Yeah, Pineapple thought he had the distance to catch the core, but was unable to. And now Quick Strikes, the midfield difference is about to get even more brutal. Thinks about denying the Ore Ponderer here. Definitely an interesting choice. The ability uptime is good as well, but that means Quick Strikes for Pineapple instead, and maybe a little bit more capability for PLX to play those corners on the defense. Of course, this draft still firmly in the favor of Chikara Chatting. Primetime, perfect form. Sorry, Primetime on the other side, but Primetime, perfect form, both available for Mloom. Both incredible for that defensive ability uptime, and we'll opt for the perfect form here, take it away from Lolamau, and I don't know, I think Chat have all the tools.
I think they have all the tools. Maloom was already getting like kind of goalie board and beating up Lolamau whenever he decided to make his way over there. and now with perfect form can just do that even more often. But unfortunately, both abilities miss the core, and so Maloom loses both barriers there. But Carmine getting size on Rasmus is just, when their offense is already has this much pressure, and you give Rasmus size, oh my god, almost self-goring. And look at this damage too. Like, how do you win right now when you're getting beat in both core control and damage?
This is the best case scenario for PLX though. They took the barriers early and now they have an open goal to try and score on. Lolamau sends it forward, but not quite enough. Hardbox sends it forward, but again, you're hitting the core into 3 people basically. Reset and Carmine have the capability to just run across the entire map so quickly, and oh, that's a rough clear from Pineapple right to Carmine's hands. The barrier's now down, the advantage gone, and the core just rebounding off the drum. The possession kept by Reset, winning almost every strike interaction, but Lolamau with the press to point will send it through for a moment. Tries to find the pull, tries to find the flip, but it will go off the target here. An awkward situation, and they do nullify the Carmine flip for a moment. That's another chance for PLX, but can they send it through? Because Reset now has flipped. Reset is looking to score this one as soon as possible. Gets right past Toby Fortress, but away from Reset for the moment. A perfectly timed log will send it away for, once again, another flip built up by Pineapple. The Quick Strikes putting up work as the forward duo of PLX have a few opportunities, but they just cannot score on these opportunities. Maloom and Reset are holding it down, and Reset on the offense as well. Finally, it is Cardbox who finds it around Maloom, but it's not relief that I feel for PLX. It's like dread, because that took so long, and they got both barriers in an instant, right? Chatting was playing with no barriers that entire point.
Dread sums it up perfectly, Saya. It's one of those points where you're in, like, say you're in solo queue and you're just taking forever to score in what should have been a nearly ideal setup for your team. It makes you just dread the next few points, and if you're going to even be able to make it work. And losing a barrier here and not able to secure the kill on Carmine, but not a lot of pressure here on Pineapple, but it doesn't matter. One strike right at the corner gets it right past Pineapple, and Pineapple has nothing to deal with both primaries coming their way. Yeah, dread is just right, Saya, and maybe even a bit of despair setting in for PLX as Chatting inches closer to taking the series.
It's really tough here. Lolamau and Pineapple, of course, also battling the network connection demons at the moment, but that one is just Carmine in the right place at the right time, finding the strikes onto the barriers, and finding the rebound off the top side with the pendulum swing. They're 1 goal away. Chikara Chatting looking to move up to first place in NASA right now.
And that was one of those scenarios where it felt like Carmine just knew exactly what was going to happen before the core even went up. As soon as the core went up, Carmine knew Cardbox was gonna stealth up and just waited that split second, used the primary to hit Cardbox in the core, pass it down to him, and Pineapple has nothing to deal with it. Not enough speed, no cooldowns, no strike shot means that's just in. And now they're threatening set point here with no barriers. Even Maloom's getting in on the action, and Carmine KOs Pineapple, and Maloom hits it in. And it was just a Chatting sweep. They scored PLX scored 3 goals, and Chatting just ran over them. What a crazy match, but in like an imbalanced way.
Yeah, Chikara Chatting domination in that last game. They looked very good, and this is a team that looks like it could win NASA. Like to just completely win this league here. I don't know what team could stand up to them if they're playing like this, especially Reset. Oh my, I've said Reset like 20 million times this game, but Reset was on another level here. It was not even remotely close in terms of possession.
Not even close. I mean, just even the stats say it, right? 173 redirects from It's a Pineapple just tells you how much pressure It's a Pineapple was in, because that's Quick Strike's Dubu, by the way. So of course they're going to have more redirects, but having that many redirects when you're the goalie and your forwards don't have even close to the amount means you were just under incredible amounts of pressure, just monumental amounts of pressure. And unfortunately, just not able to make it work. Dubu only has so many tools. Dubu has only so many answers against the typical scoring options that Kai and Rasmus can put out, and it's just not enough. If you do not receive the help, if you do not have the cooldowns, you will get scored on eventually. And proving it here is Chikara Chatting just kind of the Reset difference. Reset just went absolutely nuts, like you said, putting on a masterful performance, setting up Carmine perfectly for these scores that Carmine is very well known for. And even Maloom here on this very last play, on the replays there, getting in on the action, going, you know what, guys, I'm kind of bored. I'm gonna come over here and score this game-winning goal here, because I got nothing else to do besides maybe beat up Lola Mal. So just crazy performance from Chikara chatting, and able to take it over PLX and take the dominant spot now in the league.
Yeah, sitting comfortably at first place and in the driver's seat for getting that first seed in playoffs. A matchup against a named team is their next week, the final week of the regular season. Congratulations to Chikara chatting. Congratulations to Dragonbite for getting a big win, and also a named team for keeping their playoff hopes alive for a moment. And see you next week for the conclusion of the regular season.